this platform is independent, and we wanted to work with everyone across the spectrum. So folks are invited to share what they know, and the viewers makes their choice, and we ask the questions, and we give the just the opportunity to answer.
This craziness, man, I do not care. Why am I so anti-establishment? Because of what I've seen the establishment do to people. That's why I cannot be pro-establishment.
Power is in the hands of the people. And it really did. What we all witnessed is the government, they knew that they're heading in the wrong direction. They knew Gambians are speaking in the same voice.
What law in the books that says the government has power to come out and go after folks' private citizens' properties and demolish them because somehow the government interest?
The only way that we can salvage our country is when everybody that gets their hand dirty. Don't sit there with your expertise and just to procrastinate everything that people say or pontificate, what everybody says or does. Let's get our hands dirty.
Good afternoon, good afternoon. We are back again. We were in here last, it was the 4th, everybody was in Atlanta. Things were happening. Even Pa Joe was in what I would call the chocolate city. It was good, but it's good to be back. And my brother Marong, you're all over Facebook. Oh no, what's going on? But anyway, it's good to be back. I want to say good afternoon to all of you as we get closer to December 5th, 2026. Emotions are getting high. And hey, but it is what it is. It is about our country. And if there's one thing we all can say, we love our country. We may have different ways of determining the how to call it, the kind of country that we would like to see. But again, all hands on deck. Absolutely. Brother Marong, good afternoon. Pap Samba Jau from the nation's capital, like you always call it. We are going to be joined by Sergio Barro, a legal luminary. Now, and I want to apologize to everyone tuning in. We were also supposed to have Salutal. Unfortunately, I think his auntie passed away. So I want to take this opportunity, Sigil Kosal, yal na ko yalla khare ajana, yal na dedi no flyam. But I'm sure now in the weeks to come, we may still bring Sal to talk about these decisions coming from the Supreme Court, Pap Samba. I'm going to legal, if you're talking about the constitutional legal mind on this platform is you.
I'm not legal anything.
No. So we're going to be talking a lot about Section 139 and you name it. And we're going to have Sergio Barro, a brilliant lawyer. Exactly. And of course, the ruling coming from the Supreme Court about the Auditor General, controversial. Everyone has an opinion. Brother Manong, what's up? What's going on the West Coast, my brother?
West Coast is good, just relaxing after being a master of ceremony at the Unite Party, in Seattle, and just try to decompress and hustle as I always do, try to stay focused and engaged. But it was a good weekend, and I seen a lot of folks, good friends and everything. So, yep, that's what's going on.
So I'm sure we're gonna get to the what do they call it? The potato, the meat, and the gravy of the meeting. And of course, I was here also. The one that we had with Talib here in Atlanta, the engagement. We're gonna get into that. Pasamba was there, so we will also kind of explore how it transpired. Pap Samba, what's going on in the nation's capital? But hey, I want to send my condolences. Lindsay excuse me, Lindsey Graham passed
Who are
away.
you sending it to?
To you,
No,
Nation
no, please don't. I don't. I want no part of that condolence.
Sigil Kotu Lindsey Graham. I mean, he was someone I always, whenever he opens his mouth, I get angry at Lindsey. Really. But like they
He was
always
a
say,
turncoat.
huh?
No, he was a turncoat
Yes, he was. Definitely.
because at some point it was Lindsay and McCain. They were the Mavericks.
Definitely.
Said it
Definitely.
as it is.
Conservative.
Yep.
The conservative, very conservative. The Republican Party, the Southern conservative. But at the same time, he was reasonable until he became what I would call the sycophant of Trump. And all we've been seeing for the past, should I say, 10 years was a totally different Lindsay, all over the place. But, it is what it is. Unfortunately, he passed away yesterday at the age of 71. You just never know. Just never know.
The only thing is that still what remains a mystery is whether he was or he was not. Because
Oh, come on.
listen, this is the same guy who was advocating for nuking Gaza. Level it up. Do to them what we did to Japan. That's what he was saying.
Yeah, his politics
his politics was just
Definitely.
crazy. And of course, now you have the other one hanging on the balance is Mick McConnell. Nobody knows whether he's alive or dead.
Yeah.
So if what is suspected is what's going to happen, the Democrats would have lost two of their most consequential senators.
Yeah.
I'll call it that. Because even the Supreme Court they are talking about, yes, Trump appointed those people, but thanks to Mick McConnell. Because Mick McConnell, if he had played ball, Obama would have named
Exactly. Gallen.
replacement for, what's his name, the lady that died, O'Connor. But Lindsey played, nope, it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Next president is going to, and he played a long game, and of course Trump won, and then the rest is history.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. That basically changed the what we are witnessing at the Supreme Court. And it wasn't just the lady that passed away. I mean, going all the way back to what was the conservative that passed away? The jurist. Scalia passed away. This was
Scalia and Runsberg again.
So it went back. I mean, all the way back to Scalia passed away. Obama was president. He nominated to the Supreme Court Gallen, and Mitch McConnell said, wait a minute, we're just a whole year before the elections. And basically what he was saying is we're going to let the next president decide that, unfortunately. And when it got to the other time around when actually Trump was president and the lady passed away, and I'm talking about a month or 2 months, they went ahead and nominated, I think it was what's his name?
Ito. Is it Alito?
No. It's
what's his name again?
The guy who was there crying.
Amy Coley-Berg.
Coley-Berg. Was it Coley-Berg?
Amy.
No,
Amy.
who was the guy? The guy that
the
got
guy
You're
was
talking
there crying.
about Kavanaugh. Yeah, Kavanaugh and the other guy, what's his name? Gus, whatever his name is.
Yeah, Kavanaugh, Gossage.
Yes.
Kavanaugh. Now, Amy Barrett was when O'Connor died, I believe.
Who died?
O'Connor.
Yeah,
What's her name? The lady when she passed away.
Yeah.
And that's when Amy was.
But he wrote it. He wrote it in his book, Mick McConnell. He said one of the biggest regret he has was, not letting Obama nominate someone to balance the power. He gave too much power to,
too late for everybody.
Yeah. As Coach said, this guy, Juan Williams, he was on Fox News today, and you know how everyone is when someone passed away, and try to give them high mark. He says, "Hold on a minute," He was later on. He was part of the divide. Yes, he did his part when he was with McCain. He stood his ground, but later on he shifted
Yeah.
and he
And
did not help the
he-
country at all. I mean, a
who
couple
said
of days, huh?
who said that? Was it on Fox?
Yeah, Juan
Juan
Williams,
Williams.
the black guy.
Oh
The
yeah,
one.
yeah, yeah, yeah. He's supposedly the liberal voice on Fox.
Yeah.
One
So
million.
he said, "Hold on a minute, man. Let's not get things twisted here. The man did. Let's to give him credit where it's due, but also let's hold him. A couple of days, he was saying they should bomb the hell out of the guy. They just buried. I mean, when he was out there, he's
No,
in
he was
Ukraine.
I
He
think
just came back from a trip in Ukraine with
yes, yes, exactly, exactly.
Amy Klobuchar from Minnesota or something like that, and he was
Yes.
saying, yeah. So you never know. You never know. This
Wow.
whole thing,
Interesting,
yeah.
interesting. So, Pop Samba,
Now,
I think I'm going to start with you. I mean, I wouldn't want to basically talk about our own program here in Atlanta. You were here joining us July. It was good to see you, though. I mean, you look younger in real life than when I met you on. Really, I was kind of a. I think you still get your kick, and it was nice, basically seeing you. I mean, what's your take on the entire program? And I think it went well.
it did. The demographic shift is there. The US is not Europe. You know, July 4th is not what it used to be. ALD is definitely not what it used to be. Because we were here, the nostalgia of wanting to see friends, get us to travel. These kids do not care about that. But it was. I really enjoyed the July 4th. The soccer was nice, and I was glad that what's his name, Keba, your son,
Yes, yes,
and
yes.
his team were able to make it to the finals. You
It
see,
was really
I'm
exciting.
always happy when Atlanta doesn't make it to the finals, but this time I could not be, because I because the main Atlanta team was eliminated.
Yes,
So these kids who were put together about 3 years ago. I remember when Malik Senghor was talking about putting this team together. They came to
yes.
DC, they did
Lady
very well,
Scorpions, we
and
call them.
then yeah,
Yeah,
they're able to make it to the finals. It was nice. The games were nice, and I went to the Wali.
uh-huh.
I like Fala would say. He said, what their music they just start from 100 going up. It's not like from one to it's like from the beginning. Yeah, and of course,
Why
Loom
not?
has a different view.
Why not? Gis naa fa nga xaweeku
No,
nii.
no, no, no. Fecce moom bul wari moom. Léegi moom ma lifin moom dugal poch fleek fii. Why it was nice being around people. It was nice, and your program, the UMC program,
Right.
I think it was very good. In sitting here and listening to Talib, I was
Yes.
impressed. And I told him I think he knows the issues very well.
Mm-hmm.
He can speak off the cuff and just give you policy prescriptions for
Mm-hmm.
most things. It was a very nice gathering. Definitely, the questions were good. The conversation was nice, and all that. And
Yeah.
of course, the finals. And I am so happy for you guys that the rain did not, because I'm like them. This is
No.
the only money-making event that they have. If the rain continues as it is, it's going to be a disaster. But it turned out to be a very nice turnout. And that kid who was singing, Musa, to tell you the truth, to tell you how old I am, I was sitting there. I heard this noise, and everybody moved. I'm like, what is going on? I was confused because I'm like, okay, this soccer. Then I'm like, who is this? Is somebody singing? They say yes. Who is it? They say Gaka something. I don't even know.
Yes.
And all these young girls and all were all excited with their cameras out taking pictures. I'm like,
Crazy. Yes.
but it was nice overall. I really enjoyed it. Was there with Fala and Loom. Saw my boys, the
Yeah.
assassin. Eunice Haidara,
Assassin
of
Yunus.
course, Ibrahim Diba,
Right.
Makam So, and everybody, Talib. And
Mhm.
so it was really worth taking the trip. Definitely.
Mhm. Mhm.
Very nice. Thank you, Ajera. Congratulations.
Absolutely.
It's not Ajera of the old, but hey, you
No,
still holding
no.
your own. Definitely.
Without a doubt. And it was really nice also having you, Loom, and the rest of the gang. When you organize these things, it's always tough. I was very, very, very busy. And at the same time, you know how I am. I can be very passionate and concerned and that kind of a thing. But it went well. Coming back to Mindy soccer, I remember my son calling me, Dad, we're going to the finals. He was so excited. He couldn't even believe it. And I was really, really, really happy for him.
Yeah.
Because he put in a whole lot into it. So I was
He
very,
did
very,
more than his dad has ever done. So definitely.
he was really emotionally involved into it. And I really like that, because if there is one thing you talked about, whether it's ALD or July 4th, that is not like it used to be. I mean, during our time, we were all immigrants. We all had a direct connection with Gambia. So whether it's ALD, whether it's July 4th, everybody would want to come. I mean, meet your classmates, Chapafami, and then in the parties, and then talk about the good old days. So there was a need. I mean, there was this need for every Gambian, wherever you are, whether even in Europe, you want to go to these events. Now, of course, fast forward, it's our kids that they don't really have that same kind of connection.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, seeing my son and some of these young ones now are kind of getting involved. It is a way of bringing it back. Maybe not the way it used to be, but
It's
different.
It's going to be
And
different.
and we're still working on it. I mean, there are a lot of tweaks that needs to be done, but I still believe that whether it's ALD, whether it's the July 4th in Seattle or here in Atlanta, or whether it's in London, I mean, we're still going to be having these events. I think it's important. It brings a connection. I mean, coming back to the Friday event, the third. I mean, if you guys remember, was it 3 years ago? This was even before Talib left UDP forming a party or anything like that. Our intention was to bring him to Atlanta.
Yep.
I mean, and it was going to be the 40 people by the people. And for me, this has always been my, and Pastor Samba, you kind of told Talib that don't think he brought you here just because of you. It's because of the July 4th. For me, and then Pastor Samba told Talib that. And there's some truth to it. Going all the way back, even when I was chairperson of Ajera, my point was, what do we need to do that will attract people to come to the July 4th? How do we make it big? Whether it was bringing the 2003, bringing the opposition parties,
Or bringing Wajuara.
Whether it was Wajuara, even before that. I am always thinking, apart from soccer in parties, how do we inculcate also to have a conversation? July 4th had always had these, symposiums, you remember,
Yep.
where you would have 5, 6, 7 people attending. And my approach was like, look, if you're going to bring a Pasamba Jao that everybody knows, so it's just like musical show. You can either bring in a musician that people don't know, or you bring in a Yusudur and everybody would want to come and see. So when we brought these politicians, the heavyweights, the Omar Amadou Jallos, the Nyom Ahmad Ba, the hall for the first time, Sariang, it was full. 200 people. Never happened before. And it was because of, I'm like, wow, wait a minute. If we want to make big for the July 4th, let's do the big things when it comes to bringing people that people would actually want to come and listen to. Same thing with the Sadauda. It was a bullseye.
Oh, yes.
Everybody was talking about it. And the thing was, yes, I have my politics. I'm human. But at the end of the day, too, it's about the community. It's about the July 4th event itself. What do we need to do to take it to that level that people will be attracted to? And at the end of the day, even for this year, I think when you go to at the park, with the rain and everything, Pasamba, it was packed. We were able to
much better than last year's.
Way better than last year. Yeah. Even the rain, basically.
Yep.
Can you imagine if we didn't even have the rain? It was unbelievable. And financially, it was definitely so it was really nice to see. And coming back to Talib, and I think we talked about this, really. And just like, maybe this is the way I'm going to put it. Seattle is different from Atlanta. Right now, he's in California. We had a meeting yesterday, and there was a lot of talk of how are they going to do their program in California. California is California. They do it based on their community, the way they do things. Seattle, the same thing. Atlanta, totally different place. Our whole approach was we're going to make it a listening engagement tour, basically issue-based. for the man to come and talk directly to the folks in Atlanta, and they ask the questions. Pasamba, when I saw Talib, and I know people are going to think, oh, he's just been answering questions, not scripted. You see, 3 hours before it was the day before. He was like, okay, so program Binakala Deme. Really, for the first time, we were discussing the details of the program. And I'm not making stuff up. I'm like, you know what? It's going to be, like you indicated, you want to listen to people. They're going to make comments and they're going to ask questions. He said, well, are we going to, is it fundraising? I'm like, yeah, we're going to do fundraising. But the program itself is not a fundraising program because we think it would defeat the whole purpose. We want people to come, ask questions, get to know the candidate. Bobo mo gena am getting more than anything else. When people get to know you, then they will have the reason to say, okay, Ki Jaral Nama, let me invest in this person. But the majority don't know you. And I want them to know you the way I know you. And they're going to ask questions, so be ready. Just be yourself. And Pasama, I was not disappointed. You were there, and I heard what you said after the event. I have listened to a lot of politicians. The guy was poised. He's a policy one. He understands issues. And he did himself good. Because, I've been getting a lot of calls from the Atlanta community, what they think of him. And they thought, this is the kind of leadership that the country needs. Really, I was absolutely very proud of him. And it made me kind of reaffirm my conviction, the reason why I support him, really give him the benefit of the doubt, without a doubt. It was a very successful event. Very proud of UMC. And I want to thank everybody that came, really. The Atlanta community, they all showed up. And the elders within the community, Makam Sow, and he's the president of Unite in the US. And when I talk, Yaya Drame,
the guy
was really
the professor.
He was unbelievable. He gave it his best. The entire week. Talib going to the World Cup, all of that. The man was behind it. He did a fantastic job. Kassa absolutely did a fantastic job. And then of course, Iman coming all the way from New York. He's the fundraising individual. And my main man, the assassin, he called me a week. He said, man, I want to come to the July 4th. Really, I really want to come. So he had to make changes to be able to make it here. He came the day of the event around 3:00. We went and pick him up at the train station. So we want to thank, Yunus as well. I hate to be, and there are a lot of people that really needed to be thanked. And I thank all of them for showing up. It's about our country, and definitely. And then, of course, it moved on to the West Coast, Seattle. My main man, Brother Marong. I'm going to let you give them the thing, but I think I have a say before you start.
No, you can. Go ahead.
This is the truth. Now, people call me the devil that I talk Syrian into being the MC. It was Sariang who told me. I didn't even know anything about that. I swear to God that they reached out to him.
But then why do you even have to explain yourself? Sariang is a Gambian who has a right to be anywhere he wants to. Yeah, go ahead.
For the people, by the people. Everybody says, I agree with Sarian, but most of the time, I totally disagree with them. Magmu Emni Sarian. Who the hell? I am an ordinary nobody that I'm going to be able to tell this guy what to do? Seriously? I wish I have those kind of powers. But in the Mawasoto, I don't have those kind of influence. I just don't have it. It's just nonsense. Now, if you say one thing, when he came to Atlanta and be the MC of UDP, I had a hand in that. That I can say for sure. Usman Manjang came to me. They reached out to Pa Samba to be the MC. Right? If you guys recall?
Yes.
I think if you guys need a real MC, an independent-minded guy, even though he has a UDP leaning, I think he's your guy. Usman Manjang, Billahi wal Kitabi. at my hotel because basically there was, we were there talking. He came. We were talking about, using my place at the event. That's where it came. So Soma accused me of that one. Now I had a hand in it. But anyway.
But who cares? That's
Yeah.
I moderated a PPP fundraiser here in Maryland.
Yeah.
PPP ak doy den duñ jaro ben tal but who cares? First off, Sariat is a sovereign. Let me use our words. Sovereign person who has a right to do whatever it is that he wants to do. He does not need permission from Musa Jeng, Fode Jawla, Musa Job, or anybody else.
Exactly.
If he, it's just utter nonsense.
I will go to any event organized by any party in the US, in Atlanta. In fact, sir, I'm not just saying going. I am going to help the people that are organizing it. That I would do. If Barrow were to come here, billahi wallahi talai, I'll be up and center, supporting everything. I mean, I don't. Oh no, Duma dem chipadi because Bokumalu. That's not my game. I do not play that. But anyway, brother Marong.
All right, man. Farmos,
Yes,
as I said, yes, when I saw those and, it was like, Billahi Musa. Sulen Balalut. Aha. Huh? Did I mention that?
exactly.
Musa, you and Coach both touch on something, very important. As you rightfully said, Usman Manjang called me. In fact, before Usman Manjang, Fenda, Dabu's daughter, reached out to me. Nata Mas reached out to me. I went to Atlanta. I did my best. You see, Musa, I'm very open-minded. I'm not going to hold little grudges against people and it turns out to this bad feud that I cannot stand them. We are Gambians, right? So in order to move forward, this is the 21st century. We're talking about 2026. I was gonna attend UMC's event in Seattle anyways, fundraiser. I was gonna without being MC.
Yeah.
And the day you guys were at Usman's house, Yaya's house, Ibrahim called me and put Usman Cisse. We're talking about two great guys. These guys are very respectful. Contrary to the ones that you are saying and who tag us and saying devil and all that, it's all about your character, your approach on issues. And you think someone is winning people's mind? Look at the way how you approach stuff in the first place. Negativity. You cannot be nasty and at the same time be needy and thinking that people need to bend into your illusions. That's not going to work, right? And I don't like me, also Ibrahim. Among, what is so funny, and I was even cracking up. Among all the pictures that I took at that event, there was one particular one. They twisted, wanted to create a narrative out of, he's not happy. Ibrahim Adiba told him to be. Ibrahim Adiba will tell me, Ibrahim is a good brother, and I have a lot of respect for Ibrahim because of respect is reciprocal.
Correct.
What you give, that's what you get. You cannot be here attacking people, putting people who are these people? Fode Jawla himself, I'm going to call him out here.
Yeah.
There are several events in Germany organized by UDP. Fode Jawla doesn't even show up at those events.
Exactly.
So who are you to come here and tag people, devil, blah, blah, blah. Somehow you are the moral adjudicator of what is right and what is wrong. Give me a freaking break. Give me a freaking break, Fode Jawla. You guys know me. I don't really care because before this, we're on the same platform and all that stuff. So I don't care whatever narrative. It's a lie. Ibrahim never forced me. You will never force me. Who will force me to go out there in Seattle anyways to say be an MC? Huh?
It's not that type, sir.
No. I mean, you guys knew me. I mean, we we deal behind the scene and all that. And people who are my neighbors here knew me too. So I'm not that type. But look, he's not happy. You can tell. And you know what, Musa? The good thing about it, I was sleeping.
He was sleeping.
I count my messages, over 100 and something messages that people inbox me, and I was reading them. It was positive.
Yes, absolutely.
Why do you have to? Why does the country has to be at that stage that somehow, if I show Ibrahim Adeba was UDP, Ali Bensouda was UDP,
Exactly.
Usman Sise, the current chairman,
Yeah.
walk to walk, put a lot of effort, family time into it, to where the organization is today. You cannot discount those people. They're
Definitely.
great people. They're great sons of the Gambia. Just because you disagree with them, somehow they need to be an enemy.
Yeah.
No, they cannot be, man. And the event went well, Busa. I was there.
Yeah.
I was there. And if you go back, you listen to Talib himself.
Yeah.
He mentioned certain people. I mean, in his remarks, those people, guess what? They show up at every event in UDP, at a UDP event and fundraiser, and they give out donations. The people like Lilo, he talks about CD Keta, CD Kinte, and all that. Those are great guys who are part of the community. Anytime the community needs them, they rise up, they support.
Exactly. That's
They
what
are very kind-hearted person, very respectful people. You come here, you wanted to denigrate people, you wanted to talk stuff and want to put people down. I don't care about that stuff, really. It doesn't bother me because I'm focused. Just what where yesterday, after the event, I drove. I got here about Fajr time before Fajr, I prayed, and I was on my feet. I was on my feet trying to take care of business. That's all it is. So let's stop making people who they are not. Politics doesn't, politicians anyways, they've come and go. People will stay, relationship will stay, families will stay. It doesn't worth it. So we cannot for some reason thinking that somehow I show up at my own cause.
Yes.
And if they have an event, let me make this very, very clear. If they have an event next week, I will show up. If they invite me to LA, I'll go down there in style and I'll show up.
Yeah.
No one owns nobody, Musa. So this whole thing about who is loyal, who is not, that's
nonsense.
That stage. Politics is about persuasion. And I think respect also is very, very important. Don't get out there and denigrate people, go after people's character when you don't even know those people. All these folks we met online, that's about it. That's it. That's it. That's it.
It's unfortunate that we have to act in a certain way to be seen as supporting a particular party. I remember flying out of here, was it 3-4 years ago, to be able to attend. In fact, I scheduled it in such a way that I wouldn't miss the UDP Congress in Gambia. I'm not a UDP, not even close. I went out of my way. The day that I arrived, I remember, you just got here. Congress be. And I went because I wanted to see it. I wanted to feel it. I'm a political junkie. I don't let my disagreements or support now party A or party B get in the way. I was there with Pata PJ and Ibrahim Adiba. I enjoyed it. Afterwards we left. I was on their convoy to Mr. Dabo's house. My friend sat there. They were taking pictures. Everybody, hey, Mr. Ajang, I've gone yellow. I'm like, people, bro, I'm not wired like that. Bilawul Kitabi. Seriously. I mean, and I think all of us Gambians, I think no matter whichever party you belong to, if Mama Kande were to come to Atlanta today, and the GDP folks call me, we want to GDC, Lava.
Yes.
The GDC folks call me that we want to arrange a meeting, we want to do this, we want to use your place. Even if they ask me to be the MC, I'll be the MC. I swear to the Holy Quran. I will. Same thing with Pa Edi Faal. It doesn't bother me one bit. As long as there is going to be an engagement with the community that I live, we will raise the issues as far as the diaspora was concerned. And I like the questions that we are supposed to mail. Because because then you feel there was a betrayal. The role that we played back in 2016, without a doubt, our aspirations were das. So man, I'm not going to allow Ali Ahmed Bensouda, whoever he is, to come here munahnu. And then man might just go along. I will not do that. For what? So I think we need to just change, our way of politicking. Let's have our differences.
And Musa, not to stole your thunder, and because I was so fixated on footage, I didn't talk about the meat and potatoes and what I saw at the
Yes.
hall, right?
Absolutely.
I think there was this particular Sumakotola, he's from Kartong. Don't come to these events and everything. And he told me when I saw him at the door coming, I told Jennifer, I said, is that this person? He says, I said, I look at him. He came, I said, that's him. Then I went to him, I shake his hand. He said, oh, you came too? I said, yes. I said, I never seen you at political fundraiser or anything. He says, no, my cousin told me to come. We had to go to a graduation party, but he told me, let's go. We have to give opportunity to people, especially aspiring new leaders who wants to be politically, who wants to be president.
Mm-hmm.
And he said during their conversation, he realized that it was Talib. And fast forward, this man worked with Talib's dad.
Mm-hmm.
In the civilian sector. He said Talib's dad was at finance and he was somewhere. And he said, I know his dad. We work together. The way he comfort himself, his character, his professionalism. I would like to come and sit down and listen to his son. But when he said, I said, okay, no problem. I said, Ibrahim Adiba is with him. You will have chance to shake his hand. He shake his hand and talk to him. And I have several orders, Musa, those people. Every time there is a protest, even before change of government, when I go to Seattle, I would be with those people. I saw them at the hall. And what they were telling, we have to support. He's a Gambian brother. He has a political party. We need to come listen to him. So I don't know why people are so fixated whether people show up and it's a failure, is it this? And I don't define it like that. I think the energy, the positivity, I think that's very, very important. And the people that, you have to talk to people. You have to talk to people and understand. But people are saying, and this is what everyone is saying. We have to be one. We cannot hate each other, whereby we can't even stand each other, don't take time to listen to one another. I think that's bad. At the end of the day, we have simple majority. If President Barrow lead by even 2 votes, he is the president. He's re-elected. So you need to be able to persuade and talk to people. But I think among everything, respect. Respect. You see these characters out there going after people, everything that you say they are policing everything. They're not policing squat. These people have no sway to convince decent individuals to come to their side. And I'm telling you, it's a fact, Musa. It's just a fact. Yeah. And I respect other people who I knew and have respect for. Those people are not gonna go do this. I knew them. And you call somebody for what he did, not the entire party. So this guy has been there. He's been a cancer. People knew this, right? At one time, there was a discussion at the headquarters to even expel him from the party. So it's true. This is not open secret, right? So if that person goes in there and try to talk on behalf, it's not true. The party doesn't represent that. But what it does is people think he is so attached and he speaks on behalf of the party, which is just not true. And we need to call him out for his action because he is emotionally attached about every single thing that he writes on this Facebook and what he represents. And that's just not true. That's not true. And I think we need to reset and work towards a common good. Ibrahima did his part for the Gambia. Musa, Age 16, he got into politics.
Yeah.
Up to today, he keep going, right? So Talib wants to be president. What is bad in that? He can be president. He formed his party. And we need to go out there, give him the opportunity, listen to him. I think that is very, very important. But everyone that associated with Talib Bensouda is bad. If you go out, show up at his event, you are bad. You're a betrayer. What kind of nonsense is that all about? They need to tap down a little bit. I'm telling you, 2016, 1996, 2026 is different. People are very open-minded, and there's a lot of voters out there.
Yes.
There are folks that have family members who can convince those family members, can convince communities as well. So you don't want to, drag on the wrong foot and that'll piss everyone off about this nonsense that you think your own illusion, which is twisted, that people need to follow your line of thinking. It doesn't work like that. People are independent minded. If you want to debate, I am here. You can come in and ask me. Come ask me. Why did you show up? I will answer it. But it was a great time, and there was not a single time, Musa, I regretted being out there. I was having a really great time. I was telling the ladies to dance to the music.
Yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely. But, it is what it is. It's all politics.
Yes.
I see a comment that the Seattle was a total failure. They were comparing it to convention.
It's Bakari embodying.
They are comparing.
He lives in Seattle. That is his opinion. That's okay.
Here is a party, 6 to 7 months old. It's an engagement. I mean, you cannot compare it with a party that's been around for 30 years, and they're launching, a convention. People were coming all over the country, all over the world. Bakari, Dingbena, my friend, these people they wanted to introduce their candidate to the Seattle community, raise a little bit of money, have a conversation. Let's see. Let's say after post December 5th. People are getting to know this guy. And
I didn't even have my Badding's number. If not, I will personally reach out to him. I'll say, Bagari, just come in, sit down.
He should have.
Yeah.
At least question him and said, I don't think you are the.
And just to let you know, Bakari is a great guy, well-educated guy, and he has did a lot of great work. But I think we cannot attach emotions to this, and we need to take time to listen to one another. I think that's what it is.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah, I just wanted to take this opportunity. One of our guys here, today is his birthday, Bubakar Siddiqui, the real strategist, and of course my great sister Fat Sao of Seattle,
Right.
and of course Mama Kande. So they share, so Mama Kande and Bubakar Siddiqui share the same birthday. But happy birthday to all three of them. Wishing them all the best, and all three have been, interestingly, all part of the political process in trying to bring change, because Farsao is deeply committed to this. Bouakar, of course, is no stranger to it, so is Mama Kande. So happy birthday to my main man, Bouakar Siddiqui. He used to be my future president, UDP presidential candidate. Now he has turned into a strategist. I would want to see Bouakar as president. That would be an interesting one.
Let me say this. I know he can be president of the MAGA wing.
There you go again.
I think his politics is paying.
I thought he evolved.
He is evolved. He's a brilliant guy, but I think sometimes also he how do I put this?
Just wish him his birthday and stop.
I want to wish you.
Yeah. Just wish Yondo happy birthday.
I want him to follow his father's footsteps and be the National Assembly member from Jara. And so
do win.
Do not do it. From
do win.
And be elected National Assembly member, Bouakar. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah. But again, I mean, happy birthday to Bubakar. I mean, and I've said this before, we have serious disagreements, but he always show me respect, and and I reciprocate the same way. I mean, I mean, it is what it is. We have differences. I don't know Fadusawa very well. Nancy, I do know.
Yeah, that's his older sister.
Nancy
Fatsa
is,
is cool.
he's always been
That's my sister.
yes, Nancy Sao, but I'm sure they're good people, no doubt
Oh
about that.
yes.
They've been part of the struggle, whatever differences that we have. Mama Kande is someone that I don't know very well, but again, being a politician is
Happy birthday to Bubakar, man.
to all of them.
When he was in Seattle, man, we met and we discussed, and there was several, Facebook lives that we did it together. So good guy, I mean, very respectful guy. I mean, he's my Ndo. I know his dad, and I know his aunties as well. His auntie Mbanyima. When Bubakar was young, I don't Bubakar even remember that Mbanyima. Jamme. Dad used to come to Brikama, and she was very, very close to my mom. And Buakar's dad was MP then, so really, really great guy. Every time you Mbanyima introduce me to him, he would shake my hand and start laughing and all that. So wishing him a long life, good health. And also, Nancy, happy birthday. And people, I think sometimes Bubakar writes stuff, but people gotta understand. Bubakar is no different than any person. Bubakar touches all the tribes. I mean, I'm saying this because I knew this firsthand. Saying that he's gonna deport people and all that. He's not that nationalistic, man. He's he's your average guy. So you don't need to be scared of him. He might go crazy sometimes, but that's okay. That's politics. He's passionate about it. So. Right?
Definitely. But I want this Kutubo guy. I'm still reading his comment. And
I saw him. I saw him. He said
he's with UDP. He felt was betrayed by UDP for that appointment. What appointment are we talking about? I was betrayed UDP of not appointing me for what? I don't understand, Kutubo. I'm not. First of all, I'm not even angry at UDP. I think this is where you guys get it all wrong. I'm definitely not. And I'm not sure what appointment you're talking about. But anyway, we will be joined by a legal luminary by the name of Sajo Barrow. And he's going to break it down for us. And so, Pop Samba.
His political nemesis, Natama. It says Bubakar City is a
no, why man Nata Mere Nakonak? Nata didn't show up.
Our Democrat, our go-to person. What happened, Musa? Did you invite him?
And he lives right here in the Atlanta community.
But did you invite him, Musa?
Of course. I mean, come on.
He did not.
Bro. What do you mean by you didn't? I mean, Natamas needs an invitation. I mean, it was.
No, Musa. Come on, you have to reach out to him. He reached out to you. Faramos, be fair to him, though.
Who?
Natamaz, he needs an invitation. You could have called him and said,
bro. You guys are trying.
How about Usman?
Don't give him a cover. Yeah, Usman, he told me that he was traveling to the Gambia, so Usman was not here. I mean, I said seriously. I was out there, did not discriminate with it. In fact, I wanted UDP folks to come and raise some of these issues, make the affair be affair Ginane. To me, that was but when he didn't show up, I'm like, wow, wait a minute. In fact, I think I sent him on Messenger. I go, bro, you didn't show up. What do you think of Teba Madi Bojang?
Yeah, and that's what Karamba asked that question. To tell you the truth, I never paid that much attention to this guy. But if there is one person that leaves me scratching my head, it's Kewa Madi Bojang. I'm serious. For some reason, he's been able to organize very massive rallies.
Yeah.
And it looks like all the political parties now, kissing his rear, if you want to call it that. Everybody, Munkosiboro, everybody wants a piece of Kewa Madi Bojang. you know. So he's like the kingmaker, if you want to call it, the kingmaker with with the business. It's not like kingmaker without the business. And I look at him, I'm like, there is just something that's not jiving. I don't know whether that makes sense. I look at him like, come on, man, you have to take this guy seriously because he's always just I do my God.
Let me, let,
Everybody wants a piece of him.
let me
I
say
see
this.
the UDP there, UMC, when his thing here, there was a scramble of who is going to condemn first. Everybody to, hey, Keba, we are here. We condemn your guy being this thing. So, but hey, I've not seen somebody. I've been in politics for a very long time, Musa. I'm yet to see somebody who is not a leader of a political party with this much influence, where everybody wants to be your friend in Keba Modibuja, because his party is not a party.
No.
And I think most of these people, their calculations is there is something that he can bring from the combos. But hey, I'm like, oh, go for it. Boubacar is big
Let me say
friends
this.
with him now. Everybody.
I didn't think anything of him when I saw his announcement. I'm like, oh my God, there we go again. But there's something about him. I don't know what it is. And you know what? He's very courageous. There's something. He has spine. Now, do I see a presidential material in him? Absolutely not. Absolutely. I've listened to him. I don't think he has depth. I mean, he's not the kind of person that I would really want to see be president of the country. But one thing that I know, he has local influence. How much nakala ochi nila, and he has courage. You have to give him that. There is a reason why all the political parties, they all want to have something with him for whatever reason. Alliances, whether it's UMC, whether it's UDP, whatever this guy does. And there are a lot of candidates out there calling, almost 21 potential aspirants. But I can guarantee you, if you're going to list them, Keba Mary Bojang is at the top tier for whatever reason. I mean, he has something. I don't know what it is. And they know better. Like they say, he has influence in the combos. He used to be part of the NPP. And people are saying, I don't know how true it is, that the reason why even NPP did well in 2021 in the combos is because of people like him. I don't know. Maybe he has something. Now, I just hope that he plays his cards right. And
playing his cards right to Musa, what does that mean? Let me put it the way Halifa Sallah put it to everybody when Efri interviewed him in 1992. Halifa yange binda ni ñange jang yange wax ni ñange déglu. Ndax su la nguur gi lifi noonu di nga dem mu ne ko Efri mu ne ko naa mu ne ko lan mooy lifir nañ leeral wax ji. So Musa nañ leeral wax ji. You know, what do you mean by play his cards right? One thing I know about him though, he scares the hell out of the NPP because the NPP and their reaction with that German guy who was a friend of the NPP, all of a sudden deporting the guy because they believe he was giving him financial support. The same NPP that is getting support from China and all these people, all of a sudden has a problem with foreign nationals or whatever supporting parties. That's just the hypocrisy of it. But I think there is something that the guy has. I don't know what it is. Never spoken to the guy. Cannot pick him out anywhere. I've seen people ridiculing him, his teeth, his this, his house, and all that stuff. But hey, whatever you say, the guy from Ote.
Because he understands people's issues. He's been doing what he has. Just, Coach, one thing we all fail to understand is, we can come in and take on the mic and talk. Sometimes we have to make real impact in people's lives.
Right, absolutely.
With the little that Keba Madi has, the community where he resides in knows him very well. And that's why, and the combination of Keba and Lamin in the combos, and you know where this whole thread is going with this, especially the thread that is, with the ruling party. They knew this, and they are doing a lot of grassroots efforts. And I saw there one of the meetings in Gunjur, I believe, where they they adopted our old friend Dr. Jani as a father.
Mm,
I mean, brother, it was not, the crowd was low energy. I can tell you this right now. I
mm.
mean, so they're doing great, and I hope they continue. I think it would make a difference in the elections. I think at the end of the day, we all desire is not the repetition of 2021. That somehow someone who doesn't care about people, their plight, and their livelihood, to continue and get another mandate for 5 years. I think anything that's going to work, including working together, I think it's very, very important, and I think that's what everyone needs to understand. And I think Keba Madi and Lamin J Dabo are big factors into that equation. If you do the math, anything that they can siphon off on the other side, I think we're good. We're really good.
So, coming back to my statement, and I hope he plays his cards right. If there is one thing that the country needs more than anything else, is the opportunity to be able to defeat President Barrow. That is absolutely very important. And Keba Madi Bojang, I do believe, if you look at the West Coast region, that's where you have 357,000 votes. One has to do extremely well in the combos, especially West Coast, to be able to win the presidency, or for us to be able to defeat President Barrow. So when I say play his cards right, would be something like this. Let me put it this way. If Keba Madi goes there and run as an independent, I don't think he would be playing his cards right. I mean, that's just me. But if he aligns himself with other parties, and of course, I mean, I'm not going to say what my people Musajeng is this and that, but parties that really have a serious possibility of winning, and they come together and align, I think that would be playing his cards right more than anything else. I know, Pasamba, you were very suspicious of my statement. What I meant was for him to join Talib Ahmed Bensouda. And yes, I would love to really see that. I would like to see Talib Ahmed Bensouda, Keba Madi Bojang, Lamin J. Dabo, the PAP leader in Esa Faal, in Halifa Salah.
Which Halifa Salah?
The Team Gambia, what's his name? Swaibu, they all come together and be the third force. For me, that would be playing his cards right. Because if that were to happen, there are two things that could happen. Barrow will be defeated by this third force, or like my brother Karamba would want me to say, or UDP would have a path to victory. So that's what playing your cards right. But if he goes out there and get carried away, you have to touch Musol Warambayini, and that you can win. I mean, you're looking at a 2-3%, 4% candidate, if that even that much. So that would not be playing his cards right. That's what I mean by that. Lerna.
Okay.
Lerna.
Well, if you say Lerna, can you learn?
Musa and politics, man. Cool.
Something that Sariak said though. The guy has done a lot of things.
No, he did. He did.
And politics, that really matters.
Yeah, he did.
Relationships, relatability is very important. So moom mbokki fana fay deet ki kay mo wax deug yalla bam fi dikke hat mi yep mom dina nek ci kët gi lum xam jox ñu lum xam bokk ko ak ñun. That's what people can relate to. Seriously, angale yu reey yi lay it doesn't work for these people, that not necessarily. Relationships they value, and maybe he has that, because there is no doubt that for someone leaving the NPP and stand on his own, doing his thing, I mean, it takes a lot. Here comes the brother Sajo. Brother Sajo, it's been a while. And I want to say this. This is the first time you're on For the People, by the People, live and direct. I don't know, you're this young guy. I mean,
he's a young guy.
Always, when you hear him behind the microphone,
he's a young. No, Ibrahim told me. He says, I said, I'll take care of this. He says, Musa said, now I'm taking all your guests, man, on the dialectic space. Even Sajo is a regular guy on your platform now, and Sajo doesn't come to. I said, no, I'll fix that. Don't worry about that.
Yeah, Ibrahim is taking all our.
I said, Sajo is my brother. We'll go on the down low, and I'll call him up and say, Sajo, you're missing out there. You need to come out because we've seen you. Every time they hear this voice,
Exactly.
Sayo Barrow, but they don't know who Sayo Barrow is. All right. Well, good to see you, my brother. Good to see you.
Thank you. Greetings to everyone. I know, well, this is still a program that I follow, and then I do appreciate your courage talking to power, especially coach, and then not being economical with your opinion. I think it's important. That's something we can agree to disagree, and then for a better Gambia. And then this platform somehow managed to do that day in, day out.
So,
Musa,
Sajo, are you currently in the Gambia?
hold on. Hold on.
I'm not.
Hey,
I'm
boy.
in the US this
Musa,
time, and I'm here in my personal capacity.
my brother there
And
today.
just
I
let it
don't
know.
know what happened, but he's giving a lot of kudos to coach. He says, "You guys people, especially to pass somebody out." Huh?
No, because Father Moses is partisan. I am not.
Oh, I don't think that's what he meant by
But
that.
I don't necessarily disagree with Koto Musa's position. I mean, I
I
agree
don't
with everything.
necessarily, disagree. That means that I don't necessarily. That
And I
doesn't mean
didn't
that.
expect him to agree with my position because my positions can be very, what I would call musawis, if there is a word like that. Not everybody is going to agree. But I got on that too, Sariang. He said, truth to power.
Yes.
You know, this guy has a way of, Pap Samba, that is. He has a way of, the only thing that will put him to that orgasmic level that is when he rain on Barrow. That takes him to the next level. And I guess that's what.
I've not said anything to Barrow for a
La
while.
ilaha illallah.
Especially when he sent those recordings to Peter Gomez.
Yeah. No, if you don't arrest anybody, you don't violate anybody's rights, I can look the other way. You know.
Early morning when I read that stuff, coach is on fire and he
Oh
gets
my
on
God.
it. And it's like he's scripted and he will take a pause and he will triple his energy and just get at it. And I was like,
So go say, and he would always damare xamne ki eleg dina toj kasi. Ma nema no, I am going to harbe ma egarek dina record lo xamne. This guy is ready. He's going to. But anyway, Sergio, lot of issues. The Supreme Court, you know, when the Supreme Court speaks, like they say, ear of heart, everybody listens. So it looks like they came out there with decisions, and you know, Gambia now, everybody is a lawyer. And it's nice that we are talking about, I mean, the Constitution and things like that. We are definitely at a different place as a country. There was one time, I mean, pronouncements like that, the Bar Association will take positions. Years ago, nobody will hear anything from them. Now they are vocal, there are disagreements. And this is something that all of us fought for, the kind of Gambia that we wanted to see. That it's going to come into, is this really constitutional? I think sometimes then they have a fattest. I mean, we are at a different, the country is different, really, compared to where we came from. And it's a good thing. So I mean, I was going to let
with you.
Go ahead. Go ahead, Sergio.
Oh no, I was like, I couldn't agree more with you. It doesn't matter if one is right or wrong, whether you are a lawyer or not. What I have seen the last 2-3 weeks actually gave me hope in terms of New Gambia. For the first time, ordinary citizens, regardless of whether they are speaking about the law or from personal opinion, are discussing jurisprudence from our Supreme Court, whether they agree with it wholly or partly. But most importantly, political parties making statements, just as we see here, what they agree with, what they disagree with. I think that is healthy. It shows that the country's changed fundamentally. And then regardless of where you stand on the side of the V, the fight has to evolve. The question now become, how do we provide better opportunities for people and then maintain the gains we already have? So I think people have to recognize that even the politicians, it's no longer business as usual from my point of view. And then if you want to feign that, or you want to be in denial and then wanted to fight as it used to be 10 years ago, things, you would be surprised because citizens themselves recognize that.
They really do. And anytime you say that, I remember going to Gambia and there was an interview, and I was kind of driving that and said, Gambia is a totally different country. When you said that, oh, okay, he's sympathetic to Barrow. I mean, it's not even about Barrow. It's about what we have created. Barrow doesn't drive this bus, this democratic bus anymore. Really. I mean, they're reacting when you gala, when I mean commentators, FM stations. Gambia is a totally different country, really. And anybody else who's going to succeed Barrow, I don't even think you can. I mean, in other words, I mean, we've been there. We are not going back. That is the honest to God truth. But again, Sadio, let's start with this. I mean, this ruling as far as the Auditor General. Yep, we were here when this guy was removed. And if there is one reality, irrespective of one side you believe, most people believe that the way he was removed really was very political. But it's one thing, they frame it and say that they were going to, he's doing such a fantastic job. And that is why you want to make him a minister. And he declined. And then you took it upon yourself, emotionally invested in it. You're talking about somebody, Kohamne, is an asset to the country, you think, because that is why you're promoting him. People were very suspicious. They had something else in mind. And in the process, people thought the way they went about it really was not in line with the Constitution. You don't have to be a legal guy to really realize, you know what? I think there is something wrong about this. That is why some are confused with the ruling coming. People expected the ruling to be on the guy's behalf. Now, yes, it was unconstitutional. But then, what they give with the right hand, they take it with the left hand. People are saying, wait a minute, this doesn't make sense. Now, there are other people, and I'm sure I spoke with my friend, Brother Marong, he has a different take. Before you know the platform. So, we want to hear from you, dissect and tell us, what are these people saying, the Supreme Court justices?
Well, first, he actually won. Let's put it that way. Right. And then that's a given. He won. And then the other thing the court also indicated, I know people are going to the remedies, but he won in terms of whether his removal was unconstitutional, unlawful. So the court gave him that declaration is made. Right. I think where people split is what type of remedy is owed to the individual. That's where the problem is. But one thing, the jurisprudence in terms of the court's ruling, and then I think as a foundation basic, this type of trial, usually even here in the US, cases get to Supreme Court after trials are conducted. Yes. But our Constitution is written in such a way, we don't have a review system like in the US, where if every federal district court judge has the power to interpret the Constitution and it goes through review, unless if you request what we call expedited hearing to kind of get settled. So Gambia, instead of a constitutional court, as most Africans were moving away from some of the system from England and others, like what South Africa did and some other countries, we vest our Supreme Court with certain original jurisdiction when it comes to interpretation of Constitution. So the court was sitting, conducting a trial like a regular business, trying to figure out who is telling the truth and then who is not telling the truth. And then based on what they found, apply the law to that circumstances. So that's why the remedy provided, people have to take it into context as the way the court sees it too. They are not only making a pronouncement, but they are also, in practical terms, settling a dispute between two individuals at basic level. So we have to understand that. Now, the biggest thing that came out of the ruling, which I believe is going to withstand the test of time, the court emphatically announced that for a constitutional office where removal is circumscribed, you can only remove as enumerated by the law. So that's a huge win. So meaning any other authority or anyone who think they are vested with public authority and then wanted to remove someone from the office, and then that removal is enumerated, you don't follow that. Not only are you violating the Constitution, but you already now have prior notice from the Supreme Court. So which means National Assembly has power to see that as blatant constitutional abuse to put you in check, whether it would be a vote of no confidence or even articles of impeachment. So I think that's a very good pronouncement people have to take into consideration here. And That is something that I think that it's a win for the court. And then the court also expand our jurisprudence again to let us know, hey, wait a minute. We know you are going to remind us what happened in Yakumba. So we are going to clarify what Yakumba actually stood for, because they never did before. They only find that the president is not vested with the authority to recall a nominee. And then they think that giving the power to the president to do that somehow would offend the spirit of the Constitution, making you serve at the pleasure of the master. And then because of that, they found that the removal was unconstitutional. Yakumba was reinstated. But they don't go further to expound on certain reasoning, as courts would want. They don't like to speak in dicta. So what they did, because knowing that people are going to remind them of what happened to Yakumba, and here they're like, we are going to clarify now. In public law, the natural course of event when there is a constitutional violation, a removal from a constitutional office, the ordinary course of business would be reinstatement. However, now they clarify. We want to let you know that, notwithstanding that's being the normal course of action if someone is unconstitutionally removed, we are going to consider other factors, because in law, constitutional relief are discretionary in nature in terms of the remedy you request. So in applying our discretion, we are going to look at the facts and the circumstances of each case. So what does that mean? Now Yakumba is clarified to stand for a rebuttable presumption in law, meaning if you are at a constitutional office and then you are removed, there's a presumption that we should reinstate you, unless if the government can report that presumption. That's what this judgment also explained to us, for us to know. So meaning you don't have an unqualified right to return to that office. That is a local jurisprudence that the Gambia now developed, and then that would be the law unless another courts change it. So the reasoning they provided for not reinstating this guy, so that would become factual, depending on the next government or the next executive that decided to act this way. They can cite to the factual circumstances of this case and say, hey, you don't reinstate this guy, so we think you should not do reinstatement here. So that's where we are with the decision for now.
So other people are making the argument that if his removal was unconstitutional, then the appointment of Saul cannot be constitutional at the same time.
Well, the court actually made that announcement. They were very clear with that. They indicated that he was unlawfully removed, so which mean, and then they used the word null, void, and of no effect, meaning there was no position for sort of field. But they relied on the expressive language of the Constitution itself, Article 5, that give everybody the right to enter court to challenge constitutional enforcement if there's a violation, that the court has authority under Section 2 of Article 5 to fashion the type of remedy they would give in a given situation. So they know exactly what they were doing. While they did not go in detail to explain it to the general public, they indicated that, look, this guy term has never ended. He's still the Auditor General. The reason why he's going to be paid until 2031, or unless if he resign and then retire. Now, they are also cognizant that when So was appointed by Barrow, even though now the court made that announcement on July 7, that appointment was unlawful, unconstitutional, it is possible during that 8th month, So engaged in business as the Auditor General. He signed audits. He maybe sent report to National Assembly. So in law, even in common law, there is a doctrine called the de facto office holder, where if individual is appointed under the guise of apparent public authority, whatever action they did, we want to make sure that action is sanitized. We are not sanitizing the office. It doesn't make valid so status, just the action and the conduct so did against third party, because they relied on his authority as the Auditor General. So that is covered. Here is where the problem goes forward, because the court know now, when they made the pronouncement that So shall remain in office. Well, if he is never appointed lawfully, his appointment is not constitutional, how could he remain in office when we already have an auditor? Well, the court says so. Well, because the Constitution says we have the power to fashion this remedy. And then under the Constitution in Article 5, Section 2, when a court made that kind of pronouncement, it must be followed and ordered. The reason they did that without explaining in legal terms or in layman terms is telling people that whatever source do from July 7 going forward would be on a lawful basis by a judicial creation. They are just sanitizing the conduct of so going forward to make so whatever audit he signed, whatever adverse finding issued against any company, you cannot come back and challenge that for lacking authority because he was not properly appointed. Because the court now is saying we are sanitizing. So from July 7 going forward, source position, well, let me just say position, source act and action in that office will be considered valid, but he's only a de facto holder in that office. For lack of better word, you could call him a trustee overseeing the office while we are paying the actual office holder sitting at home. They just want to make sure his conducts are sanitized, but they are not saying that so is the auditor general constitutionally appointed. The court did not explain that, but that's the rationale behind it.
All right, Pap Samba, I guess he's the caretaker.
Yeah, so thank you very much, Sajo. I am confused in that I believe in trying to find a remedy, as you indicated, Article 5, Section 2 of the Constitution. The court has made the things a lot more problematic in my own layman's thinking.
No, that's true.
You cannot have two substantive holders of a position that is supposed to be held by one person. Because to me, by your explanation and the reasoning of the court, Mr. Cisse is still the authority, the Auditor General, technically.
Yes.
It's just that he is not exercising his duties as the Auditor General. We just decided to pay somebody the same amount that we are paying him to be this thing. So does that not create a constitutional crisis, if you wanna say? Because in my own estimation, I believe that right is right, wrong is wrong. There is nothing that should have stopped the Supreme Court to say, hey, we are reinstating you unless and until the government finds tangible reason to be able to remove you from office. Or am I just being too idealistic?
No, I think that's where I differ with the court in terms of the remedy, because you have to look at everything in the context. The court offered at least 3 to 4 reasons why so should not be reinstated. And then my disagreement with that ruling is that the court, in fact, undermined and contradict its own precedent in Yakumba Jaide. The first reasoning the court gave was so is somehow responsible for what, no, Cisse rather. Cisse is somehow responsible for what happened because he accepted an appointment and then changed his mind. His indecisiveness caused the president to rely on that and then appoint someone else. That's what the court is saying. As I said earlier, the court is wearing dual hat. This is not a regular case that arrived at the Supreme Court. They assume original jurisdiction, meaning they have to make finding of facts, whether we agree with their finding or not. They are saying after testimony, they believe the government and then not so in terms of whether so orally accepted that ministerial post. So for lack of better word, they're saying so contributed, Cisse rather, I keep calling him, Cisse contributed to the chaos that we are seeing unfold. That was their first reasoning. But in the same judgment, the court find that at all time, Cisse was at liberty and within his constitutional right to decline the offer of the ministerial post. And in fact, they cited to what purport to be the appointment letter, which I call it was an offer for appointment, because the offer expressively stated that you may accept this appointment with terms in writing. And then the first morning, 8 a.m. the next day, he rejected that. So he exercised a constitutional right, but you are punishing him for exercising a right where the terms of the job itself give him the liberty to either accept or decline. So to me, that doesn't sit well. How can you punish him for something that he's at liberty to say no to? So that reasoning to me is untenable. The second reasoning the court gave, well, we have an office holder for almost 8 months, and then he's been doing this job. It will not be feasible to return Mr. Cisse back to the office. Again, that defies against their own precedent in Yakumba, where Yakumba was out of office for 11 months, and Yakumba, there was a successor nominated to Yakumba's position. In fact, there was an important voting in National Assembly where the tie was break by Mr. Fode. So he made that vote. So Fode was there performing those functions for 11 months, and then the court still returned Yakumba back. But what's more important, it was the very court in Yakumba that says that because when Yakumba was fired or quote unquote unnominated, she filed a temporary restraining order against this individual and then the government to stop the swearing in, maintain the status quo while the litigation continues. The court announced in their jurisprudence that no such injunction will ever lie against the government because of the State Proceeding Act, a colonial legislation we inherit from 1957. And then they have not tested whether that law is constitutional. They just interpreted what is there. So even if Mr. Caesar wants to stop from taking office, he can do that. So that's the creation of the court. Why would you blame Caesar for that? And then Caesar went to court immediately within 3 weeks of the firing. So he never slept on his right. So again, I don't know how you can fault him for a process that took the court 8 months. The court could have decided this case within a month.
Exactly.
They can do that.
Exactly.
It's not like it's a trial court. They have case, so I don't understand that reasoning. And then the third reasoning was, well, we think the relationship between CC and the government is broken irretrievably to a point that it's not in the public interest to return CC back to office. But again, as I stated, we have to give a little bit of deference to the framers of the Constitution. They understand that audit is an important function to the point that they don't make it a regular appointment, but a constitutional office with all these safeguards. Probably they know there will be tension, there will be friction if you want to audit the government. That's why they want to insulate that office. So I agree with Coach that the reasonable thing to do, and then the most practical thing to do, would have reinstated Mr. Cisse back, unless he said, no, I want to resign, pay me out. I can understand that. That would have, that's what I expected. And then from precedents that I see in the US, most of the time the office holders either died or the fixed term office, the term already expired by the time the litigation ends, so they are never reinstated. And then this is from the 30s. But the most recent cases we have seen, you file an injunction, especially if that removal is unlawful, the status quo remains. You don't remove that person from the office until litigation ends. So I think Gambia, either Supreme Court could have decided this case within a month. I think they can do that, but they did not, and then fasten this remedy. And then now we have, by the court owns judgment, a substantive office holder getting paid, but not in office. And then we have a de facto guy only doing the function, because the court is not saying that he is the Auditor General. They are just saying that he can perform the function, and then you cannot challenge the findings he is doing. That's why they sanitize it, because otherwise, if you're a company, you could challenge that.
Now, when you talked about Article 5, it brings something, because if you check Article 5, Section 3, subsection 3, and Section 3 and 3A, it's talking about that if the government fails to carry out the orders that are given by the court, they would have violated the Constitution. And in doing so, should result or can result to their removal. Now, we have a government, and we're talking about the president here, vice president. We have the president or a government that has systematically ignored all court orders. We've seen court orders where the Nene Freda case, they did what they wanted to do. Pa Modu Bojang, they were asked to pay, they refused to pay. So we have had experiences of the court ignoring court orders. So is it time then, let's say, for our National Assembly to review this provision and maybe start impeachment proceedings? Because definitely if the government ignores the court rulings, they would have violated the Constitution. If you violate the Constitution, Section 67 of our Constitution, you've really given a reason for impeachment proceedings to start against you.
Well, it depends. Now, for the judgment with Mr. Cisse, the clock is 60 days. And then the government came out publicly that they respect that judgment.
Yes.
And then they are reviewing it, they are going to do. So I think we'll wait until that 60 days to end to see how that works, because that would be a test case than most of these other private cases where for Native Frida's case, if I remember correctly, it was her versus the Inspector General of the Police, while technically within the executive. What I have not seen in Gambia, and Yes, online Boras is one. I think another individual, Pamodu Bojang. We read
Yes.
all those things online, and I'm taking that as the information I have working with, that they have issues with the government, sue them, a judgment is rendered, and then those judgments are not respected in terms of monetary payment. Because if they get paid, they would have come out and then show that they are paid. What I have not seen from these individuals, if you're in the US, and then Gambia, they could have done that. You could go back to court to enforce those judgments. But I have never seen anyone, well, maybe they have done it indirectly, I'm unaware.
We've
But
tried to do it with the voting,
mhm.
our voting this thing to because when we went to court for the diaspora right to vote
Yeah.
and we won, we went back to the courts to try to get them to force the IEC to enforce that. But like our Supreme Court tends to do, they looked at what was convenient and just had some legal explanation out of it. But yeah,
Oh, okay, so take it off ramp and then get away with it. Of course,
Yes.
yeah. So that's the problem. So with that in mind, it depends on the advocates. And then in this other judgment, the one thing the court keep emphasizing, Mr. Cisse did not ask to be reinstated. That's another reason there's it. Mr. Cisse did not ask to be reinstated. So we put all these things into consideration. Well, there was a preliminary objection from the government saying that this is not a constitutional issue. And then the court ended up finding the only issue was whether the conduct of the police on September 15 in his office, whether that violated the Constitution, and then any other relief the court deemed fit. Just because Mr. Cisse don't put on the pleading reinstatement, I don't think that should limit the court from returning him back. I think, and I agree with you, Coach, I think the cleaner approach would have been reinstate Mr. Cisse, maintain jurisdiction, and then like how federal court sometimes will do here, ask them to do a status report in 180 days, 6 months. If they are frustrating him from his audit or having access to document that he need to audit, then the court could see what other remedies it will fashion. But just sitting and then assume that the relationship could never work without testing it when we did not hear testimony in that area, well, at least by the judgment or experts speaking of those conditions. So I think that's where I differ with the court, and then to some extent the public purse is changed because all the money is coming from the taxpayers.
thank you, Mr. Saria.
Yeah. Thank you, Sajo. I think Musa and I had a discussion about this. And I think your last part, though, and I wanted to kind of press on that a little bit, where you said, the Supreme Court assumed that the relationship wouldn't work without testing it. And here, even in the United States, for example, your immediate supervisor, you guys are in the same group. If you file some type of discrimination and it goes through court proceedings and you seek relief, most of the time, I mean, even EEO will tell you be prepared to find another job. Okay. And if you do win or there is some type of behind the scene, you guys, before it gets to court, they will remove you from that position and take you to a different group to work under a different supervisor, because at that point the relationship is so I want to hear this, because you said relationship wouldn't be tested. How do you frame that in terms of legal, or there is a test to it to say the relationship we cannot actually uphold that decision because we really did not know, but to be honest, the relationship is broken because I think Mr. Cisse and the president have a broken relationship. I mean, CSA putting him into that position based on common sense, do you really think, I mean, it will work? I mean, considering the legal framework, but also common sense also dictates. And I think I side with the Supreme Court on this part, and that's what Musa and I had a discussion on. And I would like to hear your take on this.
No, I mean, I think it would be incredible to claim that there is no tension or friction, especially you basically put the office of the president in disrepute, claiming that they actually lied against you. when you state that you never accepted that position, and then he had to make announcement on the very day the offer was directed at you. So that relationship, there is going to be a problem, tension, and then whether it's irretrievably broken to a point where normal work would not occur. I don't know. I'm not an auditor. I don't have background on that. And I don't know how close the auditor has to work with the president. I can only presuppose that the auditor must work closely with the Ministry of Finance. That's the area they are auditing. And then I don't think the auditor necessarily have to speak with the president or do anything. Now, when the relationship is broken, and then let's say the auditor needs certain documents or cooperation from government ministries, and then if you don't have a good relationship with the president, and then these people are stonewalling you, it is the executive that has the power to enforce certain things. So it's going to be, you wouldn't have the enforcement power, the political will with you. So it will frustrate your office. Every 30 days, you will go to court. And then I think that's where Supreme Court, and then to your reasoning, I think they are thinking more practical. And then if you see Justice Breyer, that's his whole thing about interpreting the Constitution. It was like, at the end of the day, it's just two people fighting. You have to be practical. Forget about the text. So that's his whole take. So I understand that. And then the court, in fact, they don't shy away from that. They were like, look, from a practical point of view, these two people could not work together. And then it's going to affect the public if we force them to work together. My reasoning is this is a constitutional office. We design it that way. They don't have to like each other, but they have to be professional. But that also presupposes that all systems of governments are working. For instance, if the court ordered reinstatement, and then this guy is being frustrated day in, day out, National Assembly also is part of the government. It's an arm of the government. If they see that reason will dictate, they will step in and then hold the other executive accountable by using every tools at their disposal. So that's what, from my point of view, from the deterrent point of view, it's expected. But the remedy that is fashioned now, it's costing taxpayers money. It created a question, a lot of unanswered questions, as Coach indicated, that the court give us a lot of confusion, questions and answers. If Mr. Cisse is still the office holder by the court's judgment, so does not have title. When does So's term end? Who can remove So? Does he have the same protection the Constitution gives to a constitutional auditor? So these are the questions we don't know. So a later executive or another person has to challenge all those things. And then the financial loss to the state. So does the relationship outweigh the baggage we have to pick? That's the also other balance I think a court should have taken into consideration. At least give it a try, 6 months, and then see what will happen. Or if Mr. Cisse truly don't want to work, or you ask them, because this is litigation, you are assuming original jurisdiction, ask them to conference. Let us buy him, like here what we do, lump sum settlement, structured settlement, buy his term out, and then let him resign. That way we have a clear successor. All those things could have been resolved. From my point of view, in as much as the court think that the relationship is broken, is what I have, let me not fault the executive for that, because even in the US, what happened, I never seen an executive who actually would follow the law, go to court and be like, hey, we want to fire this person. He refused. Can you check whether we are on the side of the law? They never do that. Even with FDR, when he's removing Humphrey Executor, the Maya case in 20s, they fire you, and then later the court will decide. That's what happened here. And then we see that in Gambia too. But I think from my point of view, what I miss, like the one I learned from the court educate all of us. And then this case should not, when I said it's not take more than 1 month, the reason is there's a constitutional provision that expressly states that any office created under this constitution, aside from for cause termination, maybe negligence, malfeasance, if you want to resign, the only way you can resign from that office, it must be in writing. So either the executive missed that, the parties missed that, but this case should not take more than a month. And then the court said it. The court was like, we believe the executive, he already accepted, but it doesn't change anything because the law requires resignation in writing. So how come this case was not resolved within a week when pleadings are closed? Yeah. So that's the other part that comes to how our courts operate too.
Okay. Thank you. Sayo, you said something also, the appointment of his successor. prior to the final ruling, which is July 7th. And somehow they try to sanitize the office and the judicial appointment and all that, and the decision rather from the Supreme Court. But you said something here that really, really, it's very fascinating. But also it opened doors. I think the Supreme Court, realistically, what you said was, there's another branch of the government, but that those people are, they're not effective, right? And I think there is still, the law needs to be massaged a little bit to ensure that this doesn't happen in the future, because it's very confusing. And Musa was right when he spoke to me, but also I think what I was saying, hey, he has 4 million, but I think you hit one thing that I struggle with that. Obviously, they knew their ruling. Mr. Cecil was not gonna go back to that office. I don't know why didn't they say, you know what, we'll call it win-win. Let him retire. Let them pay him the lump sum money, and we don't have to pay, salary for the rest to sell 2031. What was the thinking about that? Because that is sort of a, you definitely common sense dictate, but why couldn't they handle? And also, if the legislature could do something to ensure that in the future, this occurrence don't happen and the case would drag on and cost taxpayers money and everything else. There is still something they could do in terms of legislation to ensure that the independence of that office is upheld. And I think that is subject to interpretation. But what is your take on that one?
That is true. Here, usually what would have happened if you fire, they would rush to court and then get a temporary restraining order. The status quo will maintain, just as what happened in Yellen's, the FTC case, and then the slaughterhouse case that the Supreme Court just decided. The status quo remain until the court speak, because unless if they fire and there is precedent that the authority has the power to exercise, then they are not going to give you that TRO. So I think the first thing National Assembly can do is either amend that Colonial State Proceeding Act and then allow that injunction will lie against the government, especially if a firing is from a constitutionally protected office or a statutory created office, like this independent office. Like if the executive want to remove anyone from there, where the normal course of business is, if you allege, for cost removal, you go through a mini trial, set up a tribunal. If none of those things happen and the removal is he said, she said, where, we get it, this guy called me and say he resigned, then there should be a presumption that the office holder remain until the court decide that issue. That could be a quick fix. That way, none of these taxpayers' money would not be expensed and they will keep it as is. That's one way to do that. National Assembly could also come up with rules to require, because the Supreme Court is the court of first impression for constitutional provision outside of 1833, any such hearing, just like election petition, put a statutory clock on it, 60 days. We want you to sit every day, Monday through Friday, work on that case. No more than 60 days, 2 months. We want the trial to hell and then complete. Just like if they sit on election petition, how they are quick to do that within a month or so, we want you to expedite that if the matter involve a constitutional office, like independent agencies, IEC and others. So you could do that to minimize that. But most importantly, Parliament can also conduct hearing, the head of these agencies, and then the individuals involved, do a hearing, do a factual finding. Well, how did the president get to act how he acted? IGP, why did you act the way you act? Send your people there. What authority did you find that you should forcibly remove this person? When they are saying, because police has lawyers, all of those issues, I missed that provision, but are you not aware that the Constitution says he could only resign by writing? So if you are not giving evidence that this person resigned, why would you send your men over there? National Assembly could start doing those individual accountabilities. And then some of these penalties where the court make orders. You know how if you are suing the Attorney General, the IGP and others, you sue them in their official capacity. National Assembly could create a statute where a constitutional violation occurred. Under command responsibility, you will assume personal liability. It's not going to come out of taxpayers' money. If we start doing that, people would start being accountable with some of these issues. So I think there's a lot National Assembly has in their power to do, and then make sure everybody stay in check.
Thank you very much. Faramos. You are on mute, Faramos.
I remember having a back and forth with Saul Baji over the years. He's always going after Hassan Jallo and the judiciary. While my emphasis always, I mean, if there is one thing as far as the state of our democracy is the independence of the judiciary. I really believe then, and to some extent now. But I think this was a huge test. And I think they failed because they did not want to embarrass the president more than anything else. And this is, I mean, I don't have a legal mind. Let's look at, they said, well, if you reinstate him, he will not be able to have a good working relationship with who? What is the role of an auditor general? Why do we say that it has to be an independent entity? Okay, we have the Minister of Finance, they work on budgets. We have an accountant general. They're the ones that would make sure that every revenue and every expense, they put it on a financial statement for us as a people. We hired an auditor general to make sure that those statements are accurate and is in compliance with the financial instructions. This is all ñun ñep luñ bokala. This is not about whether we have a good relationship or not. It's about doing what you're supposed to do. A courageous court would have said, you violated the Constitution. This guy needs to be reinstated. Abdullah Fadi said something. He said, when did the relationship went bad? He said, let's look at the sequence of events. Clearly, this guy has been doing a fantastic job. That's why they wanted to promote him to make a Minister of Trade. So, can your relationship be Yahoo? They are not able to put it back together. I don't know. I don't think it's a question of that. If Sise were to be reinstated, the Office of the Auditor General is supposed to be independent. It's going to go back and make sure that every revenue collected is done properly within the purview of the financial instruction. Every expenses that are incurred, that's what we want him to do. Now people are thinking, looking at saying, Kiwai President Bila, I mean, he's not even going to do his work. So it undermines public confidence. So I don't think that their ruling helps in any way. What's your take on that?
No, I think the public sentiment and then the reaction from the public answer that question, like it undermined public confidence in the judgment or even the legitimacy of the individual holding the office, well, doing the function of the office right now. Let me put it that way. So I think that's a fair question. And then as I wrote about it, and then one thing I know, and then the judiciary is very much independent. And then the folks sitting at our Supreme Court, these are smart individuals. They understand the law. I agree with their finding of facts. And then the way they set up the rule of law, that is completely true. It's their application of the law to this specific fact that I disagree with them. From my humble opinion, I think they split the baby like Solomon. So for a young democracy like the Gambia, I think they should have followed Yakumba's case. It's going to send a strong message, precedent. Like constitutional office are designed this way because we want to make sure they are protected. You remove somebody, they return back, unless if they don't want to do so or they don't have the ability to do so. And then we will be watching. So that would be another test after Yakumba. Yakumba was reinstated. She went back to National Assembly, the government functioned, and Yakumba has a very good relationship with the president when she was nominated. In fact, to me, that relationship is more tenuous than the auditor. You know, so because they are wise, and then you actually had to represent you in parliament as part of your voice to promote your agendas. So I think that would have been the right course of action. And then it's going to send a strong message to every public official. But most importantly, you know how here courts speak sometimes, as Mr. Sarian was indicating? No, I think Coach brought this thing up, that this is not the first time we've seen when there's monetary payment, no matter how punitive it is, we get hold, you just get an empty check, I owe you, and then nothing happened. Courts here, that's how courts speak to the public in their judgment. we hope National Assembly would revisit this issue, because this is we don't want to get into a constitutional crisis, or we think this individual, you can actually speak in dicta without making any announcement, and then we'll see whether National Assembly will step up to call these individual officials to see their responsibility, what they are doing. I think that would have been a strong message for a young democracy. But we are learning too. There are, as I indicated, there are strong, rule of law that came out of this judgment that's going to withstand the test of time, and then those parts are good. What I do expect is no subsequent bench is going to rely on the remedy fastened here in a constitutional office. I think they will pass on that.
So you did touch on this, that the Supreme Court set up in the Gambia is totally different from the US, where there would be a ruling and then you will have the dissenters putting out their points. In this case, I don't think there's anything like that. In other words, the whole thing was just unanimous. It was a trial, like you put it. So if, let's say, 40 people by the people decided to, even though, LJ Dabo, they're very happy with the ruling, it looks like. And if independent people were to, can we go back to the court, Supreme Court, and said, you know what, we have a problem with your ruling and we want you to revisit it. We think the Constitution was violated and the person occupying it right now is in violation of the Constitution. Can that be done? And be given?
I think you will lose. Huh? I think you'll lose. First is standing. You need to have standing to get into court. And while Section 5 gives a lot of citizens to go to court if they think the Constitution is breached, it gives standing to every Gambian that if the Constitution is breached, you can march to the court. The problem is the court already made a pronouncement in that. They acknowledge that, yes, we acknowledge that the government violated the Constitution, and then this removal is unconstitutional. So that question is already answered. So that cut your standing to go back there. You are talking about the remedy fason. Now, so what is open for reconsideration? Like the parties within could always file for a review for a 7-member panel to sit and then see whether they are going to rethink the remedy they fason. They can do that. But if 5 people, as you indicated, 5 people said yes, even if you summon 7, the 2 said no, you still lose. So reason will dictate why would you file for a review, right? And then I'm going to give it to the Chief Justice for his court. He's been able to galvanize his court. I'm unaware of any decision that came out of the court during his tenure where you even have a concurring opinion. Like even one of the justices saying that, yes, I agree with the outcome, but this one, I don't think I want to sign up to that issue. Like here, we would have seen justices like, we agree with part A of the majority's opinion that the ruling declaring that this is unconstitutional removal, but we dissent regarding the remedy fason.
Correct.
That could be fine. But one thing he's able to do is his justices, with respect, he was able to galvanize the court. They rally behind him. Every single time is a unanimity. Every decision, no dissenting opinion. I'm unaware of 0 dissenting opinion from the court, and then no concurrent opinion. Everybody, I agree. One person said so. That's amazing. I mean, it's incredible. They all think alike. So for 10 years. Every case that, I mean, people are going to study that. That's amazing.
That will give us a segue that Pasamba will start the question. The fact that, like you
I was going to ask that anyway, so let's go, Coach. That's a concern, man. I'm very concerned about that.
Yeah, he's able to, put the justices together, and then of course a segue to the next one. Appointment of a new Chief Justice, people are saying, that in itself is a problem. You need someone.
No, but Paramos, but we have.
I'm going to just go to segue.
I have a question for this.
Before you segue, Sajo,
Yeah.
Okay.
What happened in the CC case can speak to 2 things, both unacceptable. A blatant violation of the Constitution of the Republic, because the president has the Minister of Justice as the chief legal advisor to the president. That's what he is there for. Whatever the president is supposed to do, constitutionally or legally, the last person who should say go for it or don't go for it is the Minister of Justice. Hey, Mr. President, this is legal. You are fine. go and do your thing. It's either, and the other one is total lack of understanding of the Constitution by the Minister of Justice, which also is unacceptable. Let's say, Sajo, you were the Minister of Justice of the Gambia today. With this ruling, will you continue to serve as minister, or do you think the honorable thing would be to save face by resigning your position, giving this blatant? Because even if the president had not seek your advice, that would undermine your job. If he did seek your advice and you gave him this advice, with everybody in the country except Panjai Girigara, Maifati, and all these people clapping for Barrow, knew was unconstitutional. Do you think it is about time for now to have people to take responsibilities for their actions, especially in this case when the government was embarrassed in front of the whole world by a decision that was taken by the president on the advice, supposed advice of the Minister of Justice?
Well, I'll decline and take my fifth on the direct question because the answer I will give will be controversial. But I'm not going to, since I'm not the Minister of Justice, I'm not going to answer that question.
So that's why that's why I ask it hypothetically.
No, I know the answer is important, and then, but I'll not answer that question intentionally. Let me put it that way. But I do believe, this is my humble opinion, the lawyers in the Ministry of Justice, the ministers, I genuinely believe they know the Constitution, understand the Constitution. Now, this is my frustration with Gambia. And what Coach raised, this is an important question. Now, what we've seen here, it would have been different. Someone would be thrown under the bus to save face. That is true. I'm going to give that much. But I want to go directly to answer the question. What would have been more appropriate for citizens to see things for themselves? Gambia, we have extremely smart lawyers, intelligent lawyers, but somehow we develop tunnel vision and then always miss the ball. That's not how I was trained to do litigation here. Discovery is very important. The court is sitting as a court of first instance. That's why witnesses testify. That's why you do discoveries. I would have put on record, because that's important for two things. You kill two birds with one stone. If you are doing a political job, whether this is going to be an impeachable offense or not, you want to know why this decision was taken, whether advice was given and advice was not heeded to, or advice was not given at all. It would show dereliction of duty or otherwise. Two, Gambia police refused to give any testimony regarding their conduct, because Mr. Jawo, the judgment said Mr. Jawo was the one that went to the office, and then the police went there. They bring no witnesses, and then they don't contradict what happened. That's why they were hit with a $4 million punitive. If I were the plaintiff's lawyer, I would have subpoenaed that guy. He's not going to go scot-free. He will tell me who gave him the order to come to that place. Because you are putting record for posterity for National Assembly. I wouldn't drop that ball. He's the guy who came to office. And then your theory of the case is when he came, he put you to the side and tell you that I need to speak to you. I have orders from higher above that you should not be here and hand over. When you refuse, he manhandle you. I'm subpoenaing that guy. He's testifying. Who gave that order, we will know. And then what authority does the police believe they were acting on when they were told that this guy was unlawfully occupying that office? Here, they would have done that. And then eventually we will know what happened. Either you would resign by yourself because you don't want to testify and then give the office, or we would have the answers. So, but to Coach Quexon, National Assembly has that power. Simply, they literally have that power to conduct a hearing because it's costing taxpayers money. Hey, police officer, why did you do what you did? And then those questions, the citizens would be able to opine on that. But command responsibility, it's a thing here. That's how it's done here. But I don't want to create controversy by answering that question.
Right. I'll take it up with the chairman of the Select Committee on Human Rights of the National Assembly. Now, we talked about the Supreme Court. Now they've increased the retirement age to 75. It's one of the most important courts in our country. Extremely important. Now, one of our own, the diasporans, Mr. Pa Edi Faal, who became very, very famous during the O.J. Simpson trial, because he represented the first person that they accused
Yes. Yeah.
of, that they
About
suspected of being, responsible for those murders. So everybody
yes.
knew him, and he was, I think, even the Tupac case, he was representing
He
somebody
actually
who was
rose
also,
to stardom prior to that, 93, in
yes.
the Rodney
So
King
everybody,
beating.
yeah,
Yeah.
yep, everybody, especially in the LA area, knows him. Nobody questions his legal mind. But he supposedly, when I saw Watson Gambia said that they had information, you should be afraid of Watson Gambia, that he was going to be appointed. Then later they came, we have the confirmation that he was going to be appointed. I'm like, okay, let me get something official. Until I saw the Bar Association came and said, you know what, we were contacted, we did our review, he's not qualified. You wrote something about it. Based on our constitution, I think it's section 139 of our constitution, is Mr. Faal, Pa Edi Faal, legally qualified or constitutionally qualified to serve as the
Chief
Chief
Justice.
Justice of the Republic of the Gambia, based on what you know?
Based on what I know, yes, if and only if he had provided the practice requirement in Gambia. And
And what
then
is that?
let me explain that, because the way Gambia designed the Gambia Constitution, Supreme Court, you can be a justice there by two routes. Either those who are judges already serving as Court of Appeal judges for 5 years in Gambia, you can ascend to Supreme Court. If you are not a judge or you never sat on the bench, if you have 12 years of practice in a common law jurisdiction, you can be a judge of the Supreme Court. The problem is the Constitution, Gambia was smart. He did not define common law based on legal principle. He defined the Constitution state. By common law, we mean countries that are members of Commonwealth of Nations. United States is a common law jurisdiction, but we are not a member of common law. Pa Edi is called to the bar in the US, has practiced here over 40 years. So by the Constitution as it stands, whatever Pa did in the United States does not count. It's nil. But he also is licensed and called to the bar in the UK and Wales by his resume, and then also in Gambia since 1993, according to their own official report. So 93 to 2026 is certainly more than 12 years. And then the president, you can only appoint someone as a Minister of Justice by consulting with the Judicial Service Commission. It raised the question, who sit on the Judicial Service Commission? The Chief Justice, a judge from a Court of Appeal, representative from the Attorney General's office, a representative from the Gambia Bar Association, and then from the public. So the president will be required to send this guy's resume, his qualification, and that he met the requirement. And then the Judicial Service Commission could either recommend for appointment or decline. And then if they have issues or there is no unanimous vote, they are going to do an up or down vote. So I think this is an important question in the sense that we don't want somebody to ascend to the Supreme Court and then there is a constitutional legitimacy issue where the decision of the court rests on legitimacy and fidelity to the law. So for the Bar Association, I support them on that. But if we want to speak of this issue, both sides has to be transparent. In order for the bar to know this guy is nominated, it means the nomination and the credential was sent to the Judicial Service Commission. They have a direct representative that sit on that council. The question it raises is, how did your guy vote? Was there a unanimous decision, including the Chief Justice, that looked at this guy's requirement and then find that he had 12 years of practice in the Gambia? And if the answer is yes, did they all recommend for the president to appoint? If the answer is no, or they decided that we are, let's say, in fact, they decided that we are not going to recommend, the president only has to consult with them, doesn't have to agree to what they did. That would have been known. I think the bar's position would have been more amplified if they indicated that our representative reviewed the evidence and then we are not convinced he met the 12 years requirement in Gambia or in UK, because those are part of the Commonwealth of Nations. That would have been more, to me, that would give me a pause, but that was not stated. They only cite to that section in their press 39.2, and then that speak about it. We know he's not a judge in Gambia. He's not a judge in any of these other countries, but he's enrolled in Gambia. So which means the only, by elimination, The only thing in question is his 12 years in Gambia. So, to me, a better legal question would have been, what is practice? Because the Constitution says practice as a lawyer for 12 years in the common law. So if you want to define practice as going to court or writing briefs, giving legal advice, here it has different meaning. Common law, it has different meaning. So the bar did not clarify that for the public. So from me, if the bar has knowledge through the Judicial Service Commission and then that is rendered, I would say he's qualified, because I don't think the Chief Justice would agree or allow his name to be associated with something if this guy did not meet that qualification. I genuinely believe that they are very independent. He would have said, no, he did not meet the qualification. So I think that's where the conversation should start. What did the Judicial Service Commission say? You have a member there. How did your member vote? If they vote yes, why are you disagreeing with them? So I think that's where the conversation. So for what we know, because he was licensed in Gambia in 1993, and then I'm very young, I presuppose that he was taking cases, and then 93 to now, there's more than enough years to meet that 12 years. So the question would be, presumptively, he appeared to meet the qualification. But the Constitution allows National Assembly to prescribe any country to be considered a Commonwealth country. And then they can do that for America. The government has the authority to do that. That would have, in fact, resolved all this issue too. But from my humble opinion, I think presumptively, if the Judicial Service Commission okayed his appointment, I am going to say that he met the qualification, because I don't expect those men and women to flout the Constitution and then just agree to that. I think that would be a wrong missed opportunity.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sayo. Sayo, I think I have asked my brother this question. He's a lawyer. He was affiliated with Minister of Justice. And I said, how come people are not allowed, or media personnel are not allowed in the Supreme Court during deliberations, and also, individual justices posing questions and have a spirited debate that we see here? And also, there was nothing. Every time the decision is 5-0. Saja, I'm kind of skeptical about that as an independent individual. Musa and I and Coach sits on this platform every day. Sometimes we have a different take, but somehow natural. Every single time for 10 consistent years, the Supreme Court has been voting 5-0. And I understand, because even when I asked my brother this, he laughed. He didn't give me any answer. he says, oh, we Jakali. Yes, we Jakali. How 5 individuals, well educated, went through different schools, went through different paths to reach where they are. Somehow, every single time, their decision is 5-0. I am somehow skeptical about that. And obviously, there is nothing behind the scene that says someone might descend it and all that. But is there a constitution provision that says media personnel are not allowed to be in the courthouse, or their script cannot be shared behind the scene? Because this is all transparency. And I think the public should start questioning this, because why always for 10 all due respect to Hassan Jallo, but I think I am somehow skeptical that somehow major cases, everyone comes out 5-0 opinion. And I don't know what your take is about that. And lawyers don't give me straight answers. My own brother didn't give me. He just laughed off and leave it like that. So I don't know what you think.
Well, I think he should write a book, his time at the court in the Gambia. That's what I think. And then he should offer courses on management, or even negotiation. Somehow how he managed to have lawyers very opinionated, especially jurists, and then you manage to have a unanimous court for 10 years. I think that's incredible. It will be studied for years to come. What they do at the conferences, those work product, we will never know unless if it get leaked. And then I don't even expect them to speak about that. That's perfectly okay. What I expect the justices to speak about is, go to school, universities, to talk to people how they do things in the conferences, right? So that will let us know. But to your first question, the Constitution in fact stated that courts are public places. We should go there. with cameras. The problem is, in as much as they can maintain decorum, journalists, everybody should go there. They might refuse still pictures or live videos. I can understand that Supreme Court could refuse that, but at least press could be there to listen to cases. And I think they do go there. I don't know. I never actually sit in any of these hearings. But for our High Court trial, I think at some point it would make sense to live stream it. You know how here state court, they live stream some of the major trial. You could see federal courts, no live streaming. They put a prohibition even with the access. You could come there and then see, you could do sketches, but they would not allow cameras and pictures. So that's perfectly okay. And then I would give the court that one if they don't want any live streaming. What National Assembly can do for High Court, like certain major trial that attract public interest, I think they should allow that to be streamed for individuals to see justice very closer to their home. But in terms of argument, and then I wrote about this thing too. That's my question, sorry. And I know that's how we see things being done for so long. Here, the whole point about what I saw in Gambia, you write a brief. You already tell me what you want to write. And then you come and then regurgitate the same thing. Like, that's not argument. You know, you write brief, like most justices, and then this is from personal experience. You read the brief, you know the position, unless something's changed. If you are allowing people to come and then do oral argument, it's question from the bench. Unless, of course, well, since Kalia passed, we now seen even for good old Thomas, he picked up, he actually asked question, the birthright citizenship case, and then the others. I was surprised he was asking, he was firing everywhere. The dude rarely asks any question. He's the only, you know, outlier that doesn't ask question. He sit there, he's like, I read what you wrote, I'm gonna do what I'm gonna do. But now even he asked question. That's what I wanted to see in Gambia, because two reasons. It also gives us a peek into the justices' mind, what they have contention about, what they are, you know, thinking about, or whether they find something to be reasonable or not. And then the advocates could pivot. But we don't have those opportunities. People will come there and then just make a submission, talking, what they put on their brief, and then they go back. So I think it's a missed opportunity, and then that kind of practice can change.
And I think one thing too, Saji, just to add to what you said, Gambia, if you say what is the composition, who are the justices that sits on the Supreme Court? Barely, even for me, I don't know. I know like 3 people, but the other 2 I don't know them. You know, like I know Chief Justice, I know Mbai, Idrissa, and Cherno, but the other 2 I don't know them, right? So I mean, I think it's very, very important to see, and I obviously, maybe you know, or Coach Miles Mamsa, but I cannot tell what their leaning is and what their argument is in terms of major cases. Well, you know, I don't, and there is no way we could. So I think it's very, very important if they are going to be entrusted to rule on these major cases, for public to also know as their line of thinking, whether they as a constitutionalist and you know, whatever. But you know, it is. But I wanted to ask the Judicial Service Commission. You mentioned that in terms of Mr. Faal's appointment. What is the process in terms of, you know, if the president wants to nominate a chief justice? What if you could kind of walk us through the workflow and what happens up to this point?
Well, usually the Constitution requires consultation, and by that, the president would send to the Judicial Service Commission, hey, I intend to nominate Coach to be the next justice, and then this is Coach credentials, resume, yada, 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 and years of service. And then Musa would receive it as the chair of the JSC, review it with the colleagues, and they're like, okay, everything seems order here, or we are missing something, we want more information if you want to know our recommendation. And then once they receive all the information credential, their job is to run it by the Constitution to see whether the prospective nominee meet the constitutional eligibility requirement. Or if they think, even if they meet constitutional eligibility requirement, if they have any objection regarding ethics issues, since we don't do confirmation hearing, it's supposed to be a check to put it in writing, and they would be there, hey, Mr. President, this person met qualification, but we are concerned with their ethical issues or some of these things. So it's left to the president to do what he wants, but at least we will know, or National Assembly would know, those records would be there, and then they stay with the president. So that's how the process works. The president just doesn't come out and then announce an appointment front loading without talking to JSC. So that could be even at the background for months, going back and forward before anything happened. So that's why, from my point of view, I know whatever Fall did in the US will not count, not because those credentials are not competent, but because someone in the Constitution decided that instead of saying common law mean what it means, we are just going to say membership in Commonwealth, which we are never part of, will never be part of. So we can only count what he did in Gambia and then other places. So that's the problem.
Thank you, Sergio. But I must add, don't be surprised too if this consultation didn't happen based on their track record. So I don't know.
Oh yeah, well, I'm presupposing that's what,
Yeah.
that's how it's supposed to be. Let me put it that way.
Yeah.
So Sergio, we all woke up and we saw this on Watson Gambia. And all they said was this guy is being considered to be nominated. So up till now, we don't know whether the process even went through the Judicial Commission, unless I'm missing it. Is that been that the process has gone that far? Or is it still rumor that he's been nominated?
Well, the government has not spoken on this, from what I know. Watson Gambia indicated it was nominated. But the bars later, the inferences I drew from the bars later, meaning nomination or the nominee was sent to the JSC, and then the bar now has official notification because they indicated that they have written back to the ministry and then the Chief Justice and others. So, but the bar did not give out their card. They did not say whether they disagree with the JSC recommendation or whether the JSC made a recommendation. They are just saying they send their protest letter to all these three places.
So knowing, because you are not a Pa Edi Faal in a way, you know, a practiced successful intellectual lawyer in the US, do you believe, knowing Pa Edi Faal with his experience, fully aware that constitutionally this is not going to go anywhere, would he definitely put his name under consideration just because he wants to be Chief Justice? Do you believe that?
I don't think so, from what I read and then know of him, because it's going to ruin a 40-year career that he built. Chief Justice in Gambia, it's still good, but I don't think that's going to change his resume from what he did. So if his goal is to genuinely help Gambia and then do reform, now I know he can send ideas to the president, but it's the judiciary who would want to do that. So if he's been brought for that, I very much welcome it. I support that because I want an outside perspective too.
Exactly.
Mr. Edie has the benefit of both worlds. He was born, grew up in Gambia. He's seen what's happened there. He practiced in the US. He can take the best from everywhere and then redesign those judiciary. So I want that for us. Now, Coach made something very important about the constitutional age limit, like the current Chief Justice we have right now. He's very able. He can continue to serve on the court. You know, I know he's hitting the retirement 75, but in terms of cognitive competence and everything, he's still sharp. He can continue to sit there. So most employers here, like the only thing that I picked up on, because I know this whole compensation package, for someone who is coming in where you are going to serve less than 1 year or 2 years, and as much as I want this guy to come and then give us that experience, we have to do a balance. Because what I understood is the judicial compensation package, even if you serve for only 1 day or two and retire, that benefit attached. I think we need to revisit that. Federal employee, I don't get vested for retirement until I spend 5 years. And then most states, that's what it is. There's a vesting period, you know. So that is a serious compensation package if you had only do 6 months and then everything vests. I think that's the only part that, you know, this whole issue brought to attention. I think National Assembly should look into that. That would be a huge mismatch. Are we getting more for value for what we are going to give you post that? So to me, that's more of a concern for me. Or the other justices in the court where you are in an organization, you expect that you do honest day work, honest day pay, you are going to be elevated, promoted. Like the justices that are at the Supreme Court, they were like, oh, we were expecting to be promoted. From that point of view, it's a legitimate concern. Here in the US, you come in as a justice, that's where you stay. Chief justices out, they just nominate someone else to come there. So everybody understands those things. So I think Gambia, those differences make, depending on how they see things, might be some of the little politics that are playing.
There were a couple of things that you said, common law jurisdiction and also countries of the Commonwealth. In the current, during the 2020 draft that we had, because you're saying that the change was made during the time of Jammeh. In the 2020 draft, does it still remain the same that when they talk about Commonwealth of Nations, or do they just...
Oh, no, the draft did not show that, but this one is still there. We are stuck with the 97.
Okay, so the
Yeah,
draft...
I mean, Gambia, I don't know whether it's intentional. Gambia is very smart, so he probably don't want any jurists from the US. You want to bring people from Pakistan and other places.
So, Sergio, stability in our judicial system is very, very important. What's his name? Pa Edi is very close to the 75 listing retirement age. But in our current Supreme Court, we have one of the most qualified. In fact, he was more qualified than anybody before the constitution of this current court, because he was the only one who had an experience as having served as Chief Justice, British Islands. I think it's the British Islands or whatever they call it. That is
the Virgin Islands. Justice Jallo.
Jallo.
Oh yes.
In addition to that, he's just about 64 years old. So meaning you can have him in the courts for the next 11 years without having to worry about who you're going to replace him with. He has the education, he has the experience, and he is not lacking anything that would make you want to not make him. Naturally, he would have been the one to succeed the retiring Chief Justice. Some of us don't believe that being the chairman of the Constitutional Review Commission that produced the 2020 draft that Barrow did not like, that is why he is not being considered for this position. Do you think it is wise to look outside of the Supreme Court for the next Chief Justice, given the experience that he has? Or do you also believe that it is fair? If that is the case, this was my speculation. For his work,
it's legitimate
to be held against him, because I think there is nobody more qualified to be the next Chief Justice of the Gambia than Charles Suleiman Jallo.
No, and I do agree with your contention that in terms of experience, for local experience, he was there. Outside experience, he has it, and then he actually sit in that court. So yes, anyone coming again, unless depending on what your focus is or how you want to save the court, that's where a question would go. But you cannot bring anyone that knows even the local laws, because it doesn't matter. The law, Mr. Faal can interpret the Constitution with no issues, but it doesn't mean you would be more accustomed to our practice unless if you are coming in for a reform agenda and then you are changing few things. So that's a given. If I move from Wisconsin and then I'm taking a habeas petition in Louisiana, I have to familiarize myself with the local rules of the district court, even though there is the basic, federal rules of civil procedure. I have to understand the local rules, what the judges like, because those are on the court website. I have to familiarize myself. So to your point, he is more suited than anyone. But that's why I said earlier, it depends what the expectations are. If you're in the state of Wisconsin, where we vote for justices for every 10 years, there is no such thing as running for the Chief Justice position. Everyone comes in as a justice, and then the members themselves appoint a Chief Justice for a year or two, and then you could switch. That's how it works. In the U.S. Supreme Court, if you come in as a justice, there is no expectation that if the Chief Justice died, they are going to elevate me. That's not how it works. The president just appoint another Chief Justice, just like how rankings come. So that's the thing. They all have the same position. It's just you happen to be the manager within there. The problem is in Gambia, we gave so much power to position. The Chief Justice is not only the Chief Justice, but it's the administrator of court. He's doing so many things. Here they remove administration from judicial dispensation. And then I think that's where Gambia should go. That way the justices, they would only be limited to doing the law. The Chief Justice is still the head. If cases come, he can reassign it. He could do assignment or opinion writing. He would have that as, because you need a leader in every group. but at least when they sit, they have equal powers. And then instead of, you know how in Gambia, if you want an emergency ex parte motion, the Chief Justice has to sign. In the US, we have 11th Circuit. The justices, like you would see, okay, Justice Gorsuch is handling 5th Circuit emergency petition. Sotomayor is handling from 2nd Circuit. There is division of labor. You don't have to go to Chief Justice for everything. But our problem is we want so much power concentrated in one thing, so it becomes an incentive for someone want to have that. If we diffuse that, if I'm a justice of the Supreme Court, where there is no indication that only the Chief Justice get to write opinion, or I don't get into debates, and we all have one vote, why do I need the elevation? And then if it's about change, like here, we have the Federal Rulemaking Commission that would let us know, they would do studies year in, year out to see what recommendations need to be made, what changes. So they have independent agencies that are handling that. But Gambia, everything comes out from the Chief Justice, even for reform directories saying how the court should be. If we take that away from the Chief Justice, I can promise you no one wanted to have that. Because what happened, the Chief Justice, instead of sitting at the court, 9 out of 10 times, you end up traveling more often than sitting on the bench. Because you have to fill all these statutory mandates that they impose on you. Instead of focusing on the law, you are either traveling, doing those administrative works, conferences and others. So we should remove that. Let them focus on the law. Just adjudicate. Once we start doing that, nobody wants to be elevated. Who wants to get more responsibility for the same pay? No one. So, but if that's the expectation, I agree with Coach, that's how the recommendation would be. But to his point regarding he is stability for the judiciary, it depends why we are bringing Pa Edi. If the executive has an idea, they said, look, we are bringing this guy because we want an outsider to rock and then do reform within 1-2 years, he's out. I can understand that argument. But at least everybody knows it's not coming for stability. Or if the justices themselves explain to the president internally, I don't know I don't know how they communicate. These are our concern. We want this reform, and then he think this is the best guy for that. I can understand that. But absent that, you bring in someone where at most 3 years they have to go. Coach is right. It's going to create stability issue at a court where you want stability, even though the Constitution indicates that once that person vacate, the next high-ranking official should be assume that role within a 6 months, and then you bring someone else. So to Coach's point, that's a legitimate question that I want to ask if I were in that JSC with the bar. Hey, why don't we put someone who could be here for the next 11 years? What are you thinking? Even though you have that, it doesn't mean you could torpedo the president power to select who he wants to select, but at least it's a real conversation to understand the reasoning behind it.
Yeah, because definitely I believe over this thing, overlooking Charna Jallo is an insult in all practical purposes. And I argue that the only reason why Barrow is not looking at him is because the 2020 CRC draft. That's it. He was not happy with that whole group. Believe that there was a conspiracy against him. Of course, he cannot fire Charno Jallo as justice of the Supreme Court. He's not done anything for that to happen. So it's like, you know what? This is my opportunity.
Because they changed the clause to May, so we don't know. Yeah. It's never tested.
It's illogical. He was a Supreme Court Chief Justice of the Virgin Islands before even Hassan Jallo was ever appointed as Chief Justice. So
and he was Attorney General too. I think Attorney General too.
Attorney General. He has all the qualifications. And it's a 75-year term, age limit. He is 64 years old. Musa is older than him by at least 2-3 years. So, but here is the thing, though. I'm looking at if you look at section 139(2), it's talking about, he has practiced as a legal practitioner before the court, having unlimited jurisdiction in criminal and civil matters in a common law country for no less than 12 years. Now, Pa Edi, you can argue that, like you've alluded to earlier in one of your answers. Okay, I am registered with the Gambia Bar, I'm registered with the Nigerian Bar, I'm registered with the Atlanta Bar, or whatever. Registering doesn't mean that you're practicing there. Anybody can register, take the bar, and be considered as a lawyer in the Gambia. But if not practiced substantively, that does not necessarily mean that you have the experience to be elevated to Chief Justice. And this is where my issue is. Now, has he practiced anywhere? Like, let's say, Cherno Jallow, you can say the British Virgin Islands, he practiced there. He was not only registered there as a bar, as a member of their bar, but at least practiced there. By
Yes.
Edi, we've not been able to see anything, and that has nothing to do with his legal qualification. This is the constitution we're talking about. We cannot also bend it just to say, well, Musa is qualified, Barrow is not qualified, but Barrow is more qualified. So let's just forget Barrow's qualification and just bring Musa, even though he holds a citizenship of an other country.
Obviously,
So that's not what it is.
you are assuming
Huh?
that he doesn't meet the qualification.
No, but Coach raised an important point. What Coach is saying, that's where my
No, what I'm
article
saying,
talks about.
he may be qualified legal. He has all the legal qualifications, but constitutionally,
No, but that's what I'm
questionable.
saying. That's what I'm saying.
So-
Even
so-
constitutionally.
Yes, what we want, if you have it our way, Sadio Barrow would be the Minister of Justice today. Musa Jeng would be the controller of the government, or whatever it is. Sarian would be our Minister of Defense. That's what we want. We want people from the diaspora who have the know-how. But there are constitutional qualifying requirements that you have to meet to be able to serve. And it's not only enough with, I'm registered with the Gambia Bar for 12 years, but have you practiced? Have you ever been to court?
But I think if Pa Edi meets the letter of the law,
That's Musa, and that's my argument.
I mean, yeah, I'm just
That's
saying.
whether he has met.
So your argument is based on just because of his qualifications, he has to meet that. But I mean, if I listen to you, because this whole idea is an insult to Cherno Jallow, I think you're going a little bit too far. I don't think it's a question of insult to this person or that person, because Cherno Jallow has been part
When
of.
the Michael Munya Mulaj.
Oh, I am not very.
Are you speaking for Barrow or are you speaking for Barrow?
No, I'm not speaking for.
You're all fired up.
So,
You're all
here's
fired
my
up.
argument, Mus.
I'm
Hold on.
speaking for if we want to inject new way of doing business, because these are the same people. Cherno Jallow has a seat at the Supreme Court.
He cannot be fired.
Shortcomings that they have, bringing in new blood with a totally different way of looking at things, as long as meets the constitutional requirement.
And this is the problem with your new blood. And this is the problem. This is where I have a problem. If you brought Sadio Barrow, maybe who is 40 years old. No, hold on. No, age matters. Because at the end of the day, Pa Edi is supposedly about 73 years old.
No,
hold on, boss. Can I make my argument?
Your argument is
so. Don't be Dr. Cecil.
Just
allow me to make my argument.
Michael.
What I'm saying here is.
No, because he's engaging in age discrimination. He's
saying no, Father Mus. I know you're a senior citizen. When the Nyanala.
Do you want me to make my point?
Michael Mudanel, Coach, go ahead.
Mr. J, let him learn. I think let him learn.
He's not fair at all, man.
I have zero problem with Pa Edi and his quality. I've followed him for a very long time. Very nice guy, very intelligent guy. But what I'm saying here is, if you're looking for a Chief Justice of the Gambia, all right, the man is experienced, Cherno Jallow. He has served as Chief Justice of a country. He has practiced in that country. He has served on the bench. He has served as a minister. And to me, my only problem that I have is why he is overlooked. And this is where I'm coming from. And I'm very strong about this. Is because he served as the chair of the CRC. Barrow was very angry and his clique with the CRC because of the retroactive clause. All right? They had no bones about it. And the only reason why I believe he continues to serve is because he cannot be constitutionally removed. Because to me, logically, he would have brought in the stability that you need for the next 11 years. He has not shown anything demonstratively, legally or otherwise, to warrant you to go and say, you know what, I'm going to look for somebody to just serve for 2 years, and I'm go ahead and look for somebody else to come and serve for the rest of that. That's what I'm saying. It doesn't add up. It doesn't make sense to me.
This is the thing.
Have a different opinion. I respect that, but I'm not changing mine.
You're thinking the way it's supposed to, as long as the sitting, they should look internally first. Basically,
that's where Coach. I think Mr. Jeng. That's where Coach. This is how it falls. Coach argument in terms of stability, and then I can marry to it, but it presupposes, as Musa said, that there is that tacit understanding that when a vacancy happens, you are going to elevate from among us. Like no justices at the US Supreme Court or any state court justices presuppose that if there's a vacancy, you get moved because they know where they come in. That's your luck of the draw. And then when Rankis resign and then they are bringing in Justice Robert, they don't elevate, even though they are more conservative, but they just go in and bring him from the first second because everyone understands that when it's your time, the person you are replacing, that's the luck of the draw. Thomas is the highest serving, longest serving in our court right now. In Wisconsin, any state, that's how it works. That's why I say in Gambia, those at the Court of Appeal might have a better argument that, man, I was expecting them, they are going to pick me. There's a spot that open, and then it's my time to get to Supreme Court, but not the justices on the bench. I think they understand. I would think they understand that if I were a justice on the bench, and then in as much as it would be a privilege to lead the court, I think a Court of Appeal judge would be like, I can't believe a vacancy happened. I'm giving my time to the government, and then I'm not elevated. That would be a more forceful argument for me as a lawyer working in this industry. That's how I expect those people to be thinking, not the one who's already arrived at that court. What I expect to happen if Justice Asanjal leaves and then Chorna automatically become the next Chief Justice de facto according to the Constitution for at least a period of 6 months while we look for a replacement. But if Gambia, the understanding is, well, if someone moved, then the next high ranking should be appointed as coach put it. If that's the expectation, then it would be an affront to Chorna. If that's how they understand things, then you move Chorna to CJ and then you bring someone from Court of Appeal to then pick Chorna's position, then I can understand that. So it all depends on how the working understanding is over there, like how they understand things.
Sadio, when I first saw it, I think it was Demba Bande that wrote something. Like Coach, when it comes to the president, I'm always very skeptical because most of the decision that they make is political. My question was, why Pa Edi? You know what I mean? I mean, there is a political angle that I do not know. But listening to Pasamba basically saying that the only reason why this guy was overlooked is because of the 2020 draft. He'd be the chairperson. I think there is too much assumption on that.
And you know what? And you're at liberty to have that.
I don't think they lolu regla. Lolu dafa yomba trop. This guy was overseeing the 2020 draft, so that's why he got overlooked. I don't know what the reason is, but this is what I believe. Chorno Jallow is part of the justices in Gambia. We all know there's a need for a radical change the way they do business. And having somebody who is that experienced, again, age discrimination, he's 70, whatever. Even if he's going to come in, a totally different guy, the way he looked at justice, and then overhaul it within 3 years, set it on a different path, I think it's something that we should be open to. Why it's business as usual. Hold on.
I'm going to accuse you of naivety. No, I'm going to accuse you of being totally naive.
What I was doing.
Because to believe, I'm going to do what you were doing.
It's not even your turn, Musa. You are making this argument.
Yeah. No, to believe Barrow is interested in overhauling the judiciary, you must be drinking something.
Filibuster as usual. You didn't want me to do it, now you're doing it.
No, but it was my turn, Musa, and you are putting an argument now. Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
In Gambia, there is even bar associations. I'm very suspicious of them. Their argument is based on this. We know Gambian lawyers. We should look out for each other. Again, that's why I asked you this question. Do you believe Pa Edi Faal, the legal mind, 40 years experience, constitutionally he's unqualified, and he allows himself to be considered? I doubt that. I seriously would doubt that.
I doubt that too, but the question is that's the Constitution never defined what the word practice mean, and then I think that's where Coach is saying in terms of even the constitutional eligibility. What Nigeria did, Nigeria was smart. Nigeria only indicated that if you are enrolled or eligible to be enrolled in Nigeria, that's enough. 15 years, but you just have to be eligible to be enrolled. You don't even have to do anything, do no work. Gambia, the language is practiced in the past 10, meaning you have to do some legal work. So that's an interpretation issue. So my position is, since we all crave common law, what does practice mean in common law? Now,
Correct.
Gambia, we follow UK. UK, they have a distinction between baristas and solicitors. They have different role for them. You could be a silk, like what we call King's Counsel, like how Justice Jallo is in Gambia. And then you are a commercial solicitor who only deals in drafting contract and then negotiating, talking to people, never step foot in court. Are we going to say they don't meet the practice requirement? So Gambia, are they viewing practice as going to court, holding a brief, which is a role of a barrister, where UK do that distinction? Because Gambia, the title for barrister and solicitor merge into one. And then if you are called to the bar, you are both a barrister and solicitor of the Supreme Court of the Gambia. So the question is, those, if they want to challenge, just as they challenge the bar right here, there is an argument. To me, my suspicion is the bar did not say this, but I think the Gambia Bar Association challenge is, we are not disputing his enroll. We are challenging that the word practice may mean more than just maybe if he's only doing transactional work. We want to see him in court arguing cases or holding brief without saying so. That's where they are going. And then to me, my argument would be that would fall a little bit
That's
flat.
what it says, though. The Constitution doesn't say you have to be a trial lawyer.
No, it doesn't say that. That's why I said, if that is the position, in my opinion, that will not suffice. Because are you telling me if you are a corporate attorney in Gambia, where you deal with contracts, orders, and then you don't do litigation? Basically, it's called litigation. You don't go to court. Are you saying you're not practicing law? No. And then if it comes to the definition of unauthorized practice of law, if I'm writing contracts or drawing that and then I'm not a lawyer, I can be prosecuted for unauthorized practice of law. So if you are drafting those legal instruments, you are actually practicing law. It doesn't necessarily mean you go to court. So that's why I think, for me, that argument will fail. The question becomes, has he done any drafting or orders? And then, as you allude to, if they appoint me, I would believe that he would actually look at this provision with his career on the line, especially now he's registered as an arbitrator in the international courts. He's actively taking cases, I've seen that. And then his firm even have cases here in the US in 2026, because I checked that, and then issues against the state. So I don't think he would put himself in a position where his bar card in the US, because it doesn't matter what you do outside, could be at jeopardy. So, I mean, people do things, but I seriously doubt that. My only concern is, Coach is right, we need stability. But if you're bringing someone for reform, I can understand that. I want reform. I'm very much opinionated about that. And someone who's seen the best of both worlds, I want him to go there, change things up. If that's why he's coming in.
I don't think we want stability. What we want is transformational.
And you know what? And I put it to you that this government has no interest in transforming anything. That's why you believe that you need to have a different president than Barrow. Don't say anything here.
Justice Jaite.
Justice Jaite can also be
I'm just saying.
So Musa, you cannot argue one bit. This government is not like a transformational. They are not interested in that. That's why you want somebody else to lead. Maybe they are bringing this person to transform the judiciary. They are not doing that.
Man, I am not married to one position. I just look at
No. What I'm telling you, I think you are being naive.
All I'm saying is, what Pa Edi would bring to the justices would be transformational. It will be totally.
How do you know that, though? I mean, you're making assumptions too, as you call other people.
But Pa Samba is the one making a lot of assumptions.
But I think
the point that I wanted to make in the US, I'm not your lawyers that they've never set foot, as trial lawyers in a courtroom, and they are lawyers. Set foot.
But we know that, but it's not.
Some judges.
No, lawyers.
You're talking about the ambiguity of the Constitution as to what practice means. That's what we're saying.
Exactly.
So we are not arguing that point. I'm not arguing that Pa Edi is qualified. I'm not arguing that he cannot transform the courts. That's not what I'm arguing.
You're arguing is that he brings age.
But when the Bible Daniel.
No.
But book filibuster. Bible Daniel.
So
first off,
stability need, what practice means.
What want to buy move? Why
I'm not,
leave him to
no,
share his idea,
no,
Father
no.
Mose? You keep
You know,
cutting him off.
most cannot help himself. What I'm saying, Moine, to believe ne, Adam Abaro wants to appoint somebody to transform our courts will be the level. So they feel they won't be.
No, man, I already wrote that. Man, you don't even have to tell me that. Man, what is his political angle? Man, I raised that.
No, but then, no. But then your whole.
Looking at Pa Edi as a potential Chief Justice.
Do you know Pa Edi?
I like that. I really do.
Do you know Pa Edi?
I do, just like you do. I mean,
do you know his legal standing?
I don't know him personally.
So what makes you think that Cherno Jallo or anybody cannot?
I met him in person in California. I went to his house.
People that talked about him, whether it's Sadio Barrow or other people that I read on Facebook, he's definitely a very. I mean, what do you mean by do you know him? What do you mean know him?
No, but you're acting like he's the only person capable of transforming the
I
court.
did not say that.
So let me ask you this. So let me ask you this. Do you think Justice Jaito can transform our legal system?
Justice Jaito? It's possible.
But do you
think? All I'm saying is,
no, hold on.
I'm hesitant.
Yeah.
I want somebody who is not part of that culture. You know, somebody who brings in a new blood, total way of thinking.
What is
like that.
What is a new blood?
A new blood, somebody with a totally different person, like Pa Edi Faal. He hasn't been part of that culture.
All I'm saying more the most. If Pa Edi
Sajo would be really, and I'm
sorry, Desarian. If Pa Edi Faal, let me tell you something. If Pa Edi Faal is qualified and meets all the requirements, good for him. More power to him. I'm just making a counter argument.
Let me say this. If Pa Edi, just because of his intellect, but if constitutionally he's unqualified, I don't think he should be Chief Justice at all. That is why I asked Sajo, do you believe Pa Edi, with his experience, he would still allow himself to be considered, knowing fully well he doesn't meet the constitution?
And Musa, this where the problem is. You don't know Pa Edi.
Sajo cannot answer that question yet because he says where they say practice is still subject to interpretation. He's very clear. So why would you put him on a hot seat to say, oh, he's qualified or not? Still, it's going through the process. Let the process work itself out. I think that's where we're going. But Sajo,
the more you hear about this appointment, the more transactional it sounds. Anyway, yeah. You've not even had a government with you get a take. They've not said anything. Everything is speculative. All of a sudden, we see the bank association come with something. Any responsible government that is interested in anything that is transformational in itself would have come out and say, you know what, this is the reason we are putting A, B, and C in place. But we've not had that. So all we are doing is speculating because we do not have any facts from the government to establish whether this appointment was, maybe Pa Edi was not even contacted. We saw this government sat here and told us that they created a think tank. Do you remember that? And everybody you ask, they will tell you, oh,
I would unequivocally, I'm skeptical. Remember, there is a track record here. They never follow the process. And I would not be surprised. Someone get excited. And after everything exhausted, I'm waiting for the bar association. But as I told Sajo, I said, that should be, not that that's what they did. So I'm going to wait. Because they never follow policy, they never follow the flow. Anything that is politically expedient, that's what they do. And if I hear the other side, I wouldn't be surprised. I won't lose sleep over it. So be that, Sajo, I ask you a question because Musa is only here filibustering, confusing the masses. I want to ask the real question.
No, I mean, I know he's giving hard time to coach. I agree with him in principle that from what I'm thinking, I want a disruptor. Now, coach does track record support that in as much as we are wistful in that would be the reason? No. But are we hopeful? Yes. That's the question. I want an outsider to come who's seen, look, I was in Gambia for less than a week. I went to that magistrate court. And then, coach, as witnesses are speaking, magistrate was writing with her hand. Exactly. Person, ceiling fan, it was hot in Bundung. I cannot believe it.
Exactly.
High court, the same thing. Like, how about a tape recorder, a cassette? And then we have, you transcribe it, or stenographers, train a bunch of, young Gambians to be stenographers in court. Like Pa Edi has seen those things. He's seen from a cassette tape here. He's seen how judicial efficiency transcript. My thinking is, when I was in Gambia, growing up in the provinces, I never been to the Combos. The first time I arrived in Brikama, before even setting foot in Banjul and then Serakunda, I was dazzled. To me, that was everything, because I was in the provinces.
Correct.
So if you are there and then respectfully, what you see, that's what you get limited to.
Exactly.
Coach is right. Justice Jallo has the esposo that Pa has. I don't think it's even a debate. At least Justice Jallo's seen the condition these people are facing. He's seen outside what is there. And then hopefully if he has the opportunity to lead, he would make so and then mind that. But it could also be argued, as you indicate that, well, if you're there, I seen that, I would have been more forceful in our deliberations, like, hey, I think we need to move. I expect those policies to be there. The court has been there for so long. And then one thing I gave to the court, they have devised a new Gambia Civil Procedure Act to modernize some of these things. And then they themselves recognize that, look, it's time to change. The case with the university student, or even the Kumbasinyan case, can you imagine after 4 years, after all what was done, we are going to start fresh? That, with all respect, that system need to change. And then you need someone who, if you are from the inside, you cannot save face, and then you have to be disruptive. Or you bring someone from outside who is not married to or is not buddy-buddy with anyone. You come, you don't have any ties, allegiance, you come there and then disrupt everything, and then you move your way where you know you don't have to stay. So I don't know what the goal is. But what I do know, the denominator is those courts need to change. And then no one should walk to a magistrate court again. Magistrate is writing with their hand in 2027. That should not happen.
And then the only, I guess, anyway, go ahead. Sorry.
You got something to say? Well, what do you have to say?
Something to say, but then I'm the
No,
disruptor.
go ahead. Go ahead.
People, Pasama Mingane is the biggest disruptor on the face of the earth. Now I'm being the one tagged on being a disruptor. No, Lima Amoine, Justice Chodron Jallo. Somebody that I really respect. No, absolutely no doubt about that. We had him on this platform, but he's part of the Kabudu. So if you're talking about they're doing things on paper and all of that, and you are a transfer, you wanna transform the way justice is done in the country, the way it is managed, and you haven't done it. Is it wrong for me to assume bringing somebody from the outside? They do it here in the US all the time, corporations especially. Then you Kenen Budeko from nowhere because they want somebody in new blood to come in. Kohamne is not hardened into the culture because Sariang, you said something. Every case is 5-0. That's not even possible. 5-0 on every ruling.
I'm not a lawyer, but I'm kind of skeptical about that.
Unless that's just the way it's supposed to be done. Then they will debate until they kind of unanimity. That's why I said, is there even a dissenter? Do you even like in the US here? I don't know anything about, how justice is done. I'm just saying in the US, how many of them now? The 4 conservatives will have their opinion, and then you have the dissenters. All I'm saying is this. Like Coach, I'm very suspicious of this government. Why Pa Edi Faal has been handpicked, I have my questions and I have my doubts. Really. But then at the same time, there's a part of me that really believe that bringing in somebody from the outside is a good thing, especially from the diaspora. I really do believe that. And that is why I am saying whatever I'm saying.
No, I think the reform part, Sajo, Musa, and Coach. I definitely, as I said, I would like to see more transparency in the court, how they dissent, how they make their arguments. At least I don't want the videos, but audios, share audios. What are the arguments? But for 10 consistent years, somehow it's 5-0 on every major opinion. That kind of give me a pause. And I asked this. This is not the first time I keep asking. and someone who comes with a different perspective, right? As you said, the magistrate writing, they take notes, but there is someone who transcribed, and those transcripts, the other side can request in and review it for their case and all that stuff. So if those are not, so the co-lawyer or somebody is going to sit there and take all those notes to reflect on later date, I don't know. It really requires reform, and I think that is true. And also this whole thing to pack the court, and I, like you said, you're from the provinces. We had a lot of cases, you know, land issues and all that stuff. I also believe in the locals. To someone, at least there are a lot of people who have experience. They are from the combos. There are a lot of people had experience from the provinces. I think if we're gonna pack the court, it needs to be balanced a little bit as well. But just because someone practiced this,
I misunderstand what Sajo was saying there about this analogy coming from the provinces. What he's saying
no,
is,
no, Bama, you keep filibustering. You have your time. No, you don't have to help me out. I got it. I got it. I'm speaking my opinion. I'm not saying that's what Sajo said. I am speaking on my opinion, right? I am not even referencing. I said I am a firm believer that we need to hear. People will fight, even their individual, Congress or political. They will say, "Hey, we never had a Supreme Court justice from the Midwest."
I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, but leave me to speak. Why are you all fixated on this freaking nomination stuff? Let people speak say their opinion, man. Why you doing that? Let me speak. Huh? Yes, you understand, but I even gave you extra time to share your opinion. But now you're here interjecting, and because you want the narrative to go a certain way, I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna allow you. You got your time. Let me land. They're very important, right? Come on, man, Father Moses.
Okay,
so
can I speak now? Can I speak now?
No, you cannot speak because you interrupt me. Now I even forgot my line of it. And you do this on purpose every single time to trick
Now, Mr.
people.
Mara, you are talking about how diversity and representation on the bench matters.
Yes, Sergio, that's what I'm trying to allude to. But he knows exactly where I'm coming from. And if you look at, and I will call the bench as it is composition right now. I mean, no, I'm saying besides the Chief Justice and Asan Jallo, all of them came through the combos, and they are right there. And not to discriminate, but we have intelligent folks who also understand the local laws that sometimes common sense dictate. And these things, when they are interpreting the law, yes, they look at the Constitution, but some of these things are dear to their heart, and they interpret. The human element comes into play too. So without the script and the interpretation and what goes behind the scene, we don't know none of those stuff, because you, Musa Yang, cannot sit here with a straight face and tell your viewers what these individuals, their political leaning is and what their arguments are, whether they are conservative. None of us can tell. And I think these things we agree, it needs reform. But let's be open-minded. I think there is no discrimination about age, but I really think if you're saying you keep referring fresh blood, what does fresh blood mean? Say, is it a different perspective from outside, or younger person who can come in and change this? We have a lot of Gambians outside who are very, very capable to take care of that. And also the appeal court. I mean, these guys have been there. They've been doing the job. Why are we picking someone from the outside? I think all these things are scenario, because usually, they pick folks within. So I mean, I think, as Sergio said, you pick someone and by individual within that can revolutionize this whole court and bring change. It doesn't have to come outside, Badamos. That's what my argument is.
Can I speak now?
No, you can speak.
When I listened to Sergio, and Sergio was making the analogy of coming from the provinces, coming to Brikama, it's an eye opener, something really different.
I don't know why you would. I know what you're trying to confuse people.
Sergio, you see how unfair they are?
No, I am not fair, because I don't know why you share your thought without referencing Sergio.
What I deduce from what Sergio is saying.
Okay.
When people come from somebody like Pa Edi, or any other, or himself, a lot of these lawyers that are practicing outside in the US or even in Europe, I'm not doing this. Understand what I mean? And if you were to give them a leadership positions when it comes to managing justice in the Gambia, you're talking about a country where the land commission is going to take 39 years to even, you know what I mean? And it's not working. And these are the people managing justices in the Gambia under the chief justice. Unless I'm wrong, Sajo. You are wrong. I'm assuming a lot of things. I don't know how justice is managed in the Gambia. I don't know how it works. What I know is the results. You're saying somebody make a for the pen, the binder. Clearly, I mean, there's something wrong with that system. It's still archaic. It's going back all the way to the 1960s. What we are saying, bringing in somebody with a totally different perspective who is not part of the culture can be revolutionary. That's just what I'm on. It can be. That doesn't mean that if I nekatami, they cannot be transformational. I'm not saying that.
Yeah. Well, what I'm just saying is the people within too can be transformational.
Now you're interjecting.
No, I mean,
No, I'm not interjecting. I'm just telling
great
you.
folks.
Yeah.
You bring them from lower courts, like
Yes.
here. How we,
Yes.
I think both are true at the same time. The problem is both can be true at the same time. I'm a firm believer in those that are there. You can elevate them. There is that expectation that someone is looking at their work, and then the justice judges, we want to elevate you to court of appeal. You know, I want to see him there at some point, unless he doesn't want to go there and then he likes trial more. I wanted to see that happen. But to your point, where this is how, as if I want to be objective about it, that's why it's so important, because justice is, the role is very difficult, and it make you, your speaking engagement, because you have to be very careful. Everything you say, it's important. So most of these justices at the Supreme Court, they cannot just speak anyhow they want, you know, except in universities' academic setting. So it's very important in their judgment to speak for us to understand their philosophy or how they see things. And then to Sariam's point, if I were a Musa, what Musa is saying, if I'm going to take a bet in terms of reform, and then I have a court where the same justices sit for almost 10 years, and then you don't speak to me to understand, like a criminal case that comes in, and then there's a problem, but the law restrain your hand. We would see the courts here speak. We expect the legislature to fix this. Our hands are tied. We are doing this, which is an anomaly, and it's wrong. Gambia, you don't hear that. We don't know what problem they are facing. So you are asking me to roll a dice on you when I never hear you speak to me in your opinions, what the problems are or what you think ought to change. So if I see someone who is coming from a different world and then how things are different, I'm like, well, I'm going to take my bet with them to do that reform. They may disappoint me, but that's how I will see it. The only thing, if we have this understanding, like here, most of the members of the bench, they know that if something happened, they will be recruited from within. And then I think to Coach point and then Saria, I think that's something we need to encourage. That way, those at the High Court and the Court of Appeal, they understand that you're in public service, you put in honest day work, honest day pay. If, you know, vacancies arise, we would pull you from there and then recognize that. The question becomes which president wanted. So I think those things are
Sajo, my Koto has selective amnesia. He will argue one day about this whole transformational. We need new blood. We need a different perspective, right? But the other time when he wants to navigate through these, how you gonna? Yes, he got all the experience. No one is doubting that.
I'm not talking about that day.
Yeah?
I am not talking about that day. Young man,
No, hold on. My mama Daniel Faramos. Luta nga yange filibuster tay. Man lola la buga laaj.
You've been filibustering all over the
One
place.
cause you see, you know, Musa Aksari and then they just eye to eye. Lola they were.
Sajo is going through what I would call this. Sajo is Manda support 100%. But
No. Sajo support.
Hold on. Let me tell you what Sajo is going
Sajo is a calm, collected guy.
He is taking this position because of his situation.
No, he's not taking
That is
any
why.
position.
No, you tell me.
Okay.
I'm telling you.
Okay.
That is why he's kind of even giving you guys kind of open to the stability and all of that thing. It's no different from your Sari Yang Marong. How long? Let's look at, forget about justice. Look at other institutions. Look at social security. Didn't they have a lot of qualified social security personnel? I'm sure they do. When they went outside and they pulled a Sana Manjang, not Sana Manjang, what's his name? Mohammed Manjang, every day you remind us of that and how they fought against him. He was somebody who wasn't part of the culture. You always make that argument.
Yes, I do.
Of these institutions. Same thing with NAWEC. You can go ahead and today, Ngani Nani Jawara, tomorrow you handpick somebody from within. Unless you go outside and bring in someone who is not part of that culture, the problem is not going to change. So if you're talking about consistency, that's why I said, even for the presidency, the highest office of the land, I need someone who is totally different. It's not part of the old guard.
Yeah, man hamna fofu la ñoo mujjé, but the one is okay.
No, did he in fact play the ad today?
You see?
I'm just want to remind you.
I love Coach, man.
You see what I go through? If you're talking about consistently, man,
I want people to start sharing polling today.
Tomorrow they are all over the place. All I'm saying is this: if Pa Edi Faal constitutionally, Billahi wal Kitabi, is a disqualifier, he has no business even being considered. But if it is not, I would rather roll the dice on him than the people that are already there. That's all.
And you know what, most everybody respects that opinion, because that's why you are not appointing. I'm not appointing you. We have opinions about it. Every appointment that comes, you prefer him, roll the dice on him. I prefer a man. I have no problem with him being appointed, but I have a problem with Charno Jallow being overlooked. That's just the essence of democracy.
Let me ask you this question: if the constitutional issue is at rest, now it's not a disqualifier.
I have zero problem with his appointment.
Okay, then, Gazi.
And you know, Coach, this is why I'm saying.
This is what he does.
There were other things that
No. Hold on. I never said I had a problem with Pa Edi being appointed.
He didn't say that.
All I'm saying...
No, he did not, Faramos.
Listen. You know how he did? He talked about stability. It's not like you did not come and say, Pa Edi, no. It's some of the things that you said. You talked about stability. You know what I mean? This guy is almost 70. And you talked about...
No, he's not almost. He's not almost 70. He's 73. He's 73.
No, Tekluma, I'm just saying...
He's 73, so he will only serve for 2 years.
You said, all I'm saying is, you raise issues that will be disqualifiers, that you don't support his appointment. That's all I'm saying. And then
he raised concerns. There's a difference.
Tell me.
No, he raised concerns like you did, Musa. Come on. And someone, here is another thing that I wanted to make sure you know. I think while this process is ongoing, I look forward what type of reforms Mr. Cherno Jallow will implement. I think that kind of gives us a glimpse from the departure of the old time of doing business. And I definitely look forward to that, you know. And Cherno can come out and start reforming stuff. Who knows? He's not the ultimate nominee.
That's a good point, Sariyang. I mean,
he can come back and say,
you create a lapse and then allow him to ascend to see.
Yes.
I do not.
He can come back tomorrow and say, you know what, in the British Virgin Islands, when I was the Chief Justice, this is A, B, and C that we used to do.
Yes.
Maybe
I watch him.
Let me ask
watch him engage the Gambian community in Seattle. And I'm very impressed with him.
I met him there. He's really, really good.
All I'm saying is
judgment in, I think, Koji's case.
I am part of a director of an institution, let's say, hypothetically. I think it would be very difficult for me to buy the idea unless and until I'm the leadership at the helm. I would not be able to have an impact. I seriously, all I'm saying is this: if I'm rolling the dice, do I believe that Cherno Jallow could be a reformer? Absolutely. But if you give me a choice between someone who is already there, part of the culture, and I haven't seen those reforms, I would rather roll the dice on someone who is coming from the outside saying that, look, I can bring the reforms. It's a question of who are you willing to roll the dice on? That's all I'm saying. If it is
you can roll the dice all you want, but that doesn't mean that the other side, the other side is not greener as well. I mean, as I said, I saw the man and he did a fantastic job. 2020 constitutional review, engagement, listening to people, doing follow-ups and stuff, and the composition of that team gives me a glimpse of who he is if he has the him. You understand? You are entitled to your opinion.
You know who I'm going to roll the dice on?
I don't have to tell you about the Lakeview apartment in Kotu, but if I were you, I would. Beautifully and perfectly crafted to suit your lifestyle. Only a few units left at Lakeview. You snooze, you lose.
Thank you, Milan. Oops. Pasamba actually lost the debate completely, and I totally agree.
What did I lose today?
Anyway.
No, I have a question for you, but sorry. Do you think Charno Jallow is qualified to be the next Chief Justice of the country?
Yes.
Okay.
Because he's already a sitting justice. Remember, listen to what I said. What I'm saying is, if I'm going to roll the dice on who is going to bring reforms, Ngejoma Charno Jallow, Ngejoma Pa Edi, both of them are constitutionally qualified.
You'll take Pa Edi.
I am saying I'll roll the dice on Pa Edi.
Can I ask you one more question? Do you believe, based on what you know for the past 10 years of the Barrow government, that they are interested in bringing anybody to reform the judiciary?
No.
Especially of late?
No.
Do you think they're interested in appointing somebody on the sole basis of judiciary reform?
No.
Thank you. Now,
it doesn't mean it, but that doesn't mean it.
No. Thank you very much. I was not looking for. No.
You torpedo your own case.
No. Context to my question. Like I said.
No. You didn't ask a question. I asked the question. You answered it. I'm satisfied. Your Honor. Your Honor. Can you please instruct the witness?
All I'm saying is this. When I first saw it on Facebook, what I told you, Demba Balde Moine, my problem is not with Pa Edi. My problem is with consideration, because these people are very political. But again, like I said.
Well, Sarian, thank you very much, Sarian.
I know program.
Can you mute? Sajo, thank you very much for joining us today. It was a very interesting conversation, of course. At the end of the day, all we want is just our judiciary to remain independent and fully functional. Because definitely, if you look at our judiciary from Nekani, the backlog of cases is out of this world. You go to, even the Chief Justice had already so many times made that complaint. The backlog, you go to the Nakalafu remand wing, the amount of people that have been there, that are there remanded and cannot even have a day in court are too many. But thank you, Sajo. You are a great mind. Are you still a judge, or you've decided?
Transition now.
So that's why you're free now.
I don't know whether I can share that, but still within the government.
You still do your legal practice?
No, I'm not in private. My hands are tied.
Okay.
I'm not in private, and then hopefully someday when I'm there, I definitely wanted to give my service and then to help people again. But for now, Uncle Sam has the better of me. Let me put it that way. But to Coach point, I think the problem what I saw and then the training I received here, when I was on the bench, moving from one office within the government to another office, is we don't have KPIs. I think that's the problem.
Yep.
There are rules. Gambia, you can file a petition, a complaint with the court, and it's defective. They'll sit on it for 1 year or later come and tell you at the judgment, oh, by the way, you made a mistake. Here, they would even reject it. Simple, like if you file the simple thing, they'll just reject it right there and then ask you to correct it. And then judges have metrics that they judge me by. And then someone filed a motion, you have 10 days to respond, for instance. I have 20 days to decide on that motion. I don't have liberty to sit on it. A case complete today, and then if it's a detained case, I have within 3 days to make a decision on that because someone is at liberty. If it is non-detained, I have within 10 days to complete the decision. You reserve, it's a complex issue, you want to research more, within 60 days, you are expected to do a decision. So if you blew that someone is calling, checking on you on the line, chain of line, I think Gambia, we should start those accountability where something is pending in court for so long. And then secondly, the way the rules are designed, and then I talked about this, it makes it almost impossible to be efficient. And then that's just because that's how we inherited from England. And then England's change, they changed their rules, and then we still stuck with that old system of practice. It worked 60s because we don't have enough cases at the court. But now, like in January of this year, when Coach mentioned this, the CJ complained about backlog almost over 10,000 cases. On my docket, I have over 12,000 cases. The only reason I don't drown is there's a system. I'm managed. And then that's why I don't feel overwhelmed. So I think Gambia can use that, but I don't see that. But that goes to leadership and then administration. So that's why my argument is maybe we should divest administration from the courts and then have an administrative office that is handling this docketing, and then make so, have a court administrator, one court administrator per division. And then their job is to make sure they ensure all of these things. I have a court administrator, and then who is handling everything in our court. In fact, here, because they have the resources, every court has a court administrator. And then in areas where it's new, they have different people. So I don't know, hopefully in the future, we change that, or at least National Assembly picked up. I don't blame the judiciary for some of these things. In fact, I gave up on blaming the executive for everything. I think the most critical arm of government in the Gambia is the National Assembly. The idea that we can just put anybody there, I think we should all learn from that. We need people that are competent, that understand issues, that will make sure the money, the post, because they are responsible for the post of the country. If they disburse it and then ask you to spend it the right way, you did not, start calling hearing. Here, if you get a subpoena that a congressional committee want to speak to you, you don't sleep overnight. You are terrified. So I want the assembly to be like that. We need people there that would make sure the money is spent the way it should spend. And then I think we would start seeing change.
I think Basindao has the last word. The CRC spent millions in a significant portion of the Kenyan constitution. And Chornojala was the chairman of the CRC.
Yeah. Who said that?
Bas.
Yeah, but that's not a disqualifier.
I didn't say that.
Well, you are very happy in reading it.
Yeah.
No. Our Bas now has the last word.
You were very. He doesn't have the last one. I was going to ask.
And you know what's you know what's funny?
Uh-huh.
The 2020 draft, he was the biggest defender of it. This Musa Jang here, yeah. But today, that may be
inconsistency, coach. We've been talking about this.
That may be a weapon against the guy that I don't want to occupy it. So let's bring it up.
Musa, hey, coach. We know all this. He is the inconsistency and the shifting positions. You see what I'm saying? Whatever is convenient in terms of political expediency, that's what he goes with the flow. But Sayo, my question to you, and this is why I have the last word. You took my time. You took but Sayo, some of the decisions, even you particularly, I've seen people wrote great stuff about you when you try to help them out, file their papers, and in fact, sometimes you even chip in and take care of the stuff. I think sometimes when ruling is happening, I've seen judges whereby, they bring themselves to a human element, whereby they connect with people. And especially your upbringing and the struggles as an immigrant when you came in here, going through the pipeline and being where you are today. When you're sitting and listening to all these things, sometimes does that do you apply empathy in some of your decisions? And I think this is why I was saying to diversify the quotes, and also because I think your leaning and your upbringing, if so you put someone out there who has no connection, who has never gone, I think the connection, even though they look at the practicality of the law. But what I'm trying to say is, does that ever sway some of your decisions, or if you look at certain cases, do you kind of think about those things at all?
Diversify.
Yes, it comes your background factored in because when I for most of my courtroom, I conduct bench trial, just like Gambia, meaning I have to make the finding of facts. So my background experience factor into that. So here, I'm making a credibility determination, and the government is arguing that, this witness is equivocating, and then they are non-responsive, or Your Honor is not looking you in the eye, his head is down. I'm looking at that person's background, the culture they come from, because I know in my community, respect for authorities require maybe sometimes putting you down. So that doesn't necessarily cue that the person is lying, because my background informs me of that. So I have to put everything in the context. So sometimes I will ask them to understand that I don't want to rule that against them. And then I've seen where arguments will be advanced. There is no way that's possible, but I've seen it. Those things happen with authorities in Gambia. I'll tell you, I went to the police, and then they tell me, go resolve this, as this is a family issue. To a US-born attorney who did not see that lens, like, and that's just implausible. They are denying plausibility. There's no way the police would say that. But I understand that's possible because I came from a different background. So I have to put in, sometimes it matters, to your point. And then even with Justice Katinji Brown, when they brought her, she sat as a district court judge. So she's well informed about trials. She has done a lot of credibility determination. And then working as a public defender, also informed that area of respondents. So she actually bring that to a bench. You bring a Justice Jaide to a court of appeal, to a Supreme Court, where you only have a dry transcript, and then the standard for you as an appellate judge, because findings are all done. So the question now becomes, is this factual finding a trial court made? Is there a clear error there? Is the finding pervasive? He would be in a better position to understand that because he did credibility assessment more often than anyone who had that experience. So those things sometimes they matter, your background. It gives you an edge over other justices. So that's very, very true. And then how they see things differently. So the background, compositions, the reason why here they fought over justices, because they understand that.
Yes.
And then how they see the law, how they interpret the law. So all those, because a human element in it. So I think that's important, even in Gambia, as you indicated. It's difficult for us. The only thing I know, our courts are very conservative, that I know for sure, because they are very much hesitant to make changes. But aside from that, we don't know much. And then how do they see the law? How do they read? Do they consider the law to be a living organism? Applying, do they just interpret the Constitution as an original text? Are they from the Thomas or Scalia point of view? We don't know, because they don't opine on it. They don't give us that opportunity. And then that's the problem, putting someone to a lifetime position, and then you don't know how they swing their bat. So.
No, thank you, Sajo. You did very well. I mean, you were fair and balanced and very objective. Unlike our brother, man, our Koto, that sits on this platform today, he is very biased, especially to pass some. I must state this: very, very fair, unfair. He treat my good friend very unfairly today.
Very badly.
Very badly.
It was
Very
nasty.
badly.
Really, really nasty.
Very nasty.
Hey, he's still my boss.
Sajo, as usual.
Sajo, thank you.
When there is a reason why I reached out. I needed a smart, independent, non-biased, none of these so-called, what they call them again, activists on steroids. So I said, let me bring a fresh perspective, and you didn't disappoint. And thank you very much. It's definitely good to have you on the 40 People by the People.
Thank you all.
Without Brother Sajo. Yes, bro, Sariang, it ain't unfair. That is why when people say that the devil, that I am the devil.
No, it's so funny. The first person that commented on this was Jennifer, because sometimes Jennifer is sitting here, she hear me argue with you on the phone after some of the sitting over here. I don't do that with Coach so much, but she knows. He said, "Billahi Musa Sulen Balud." Aha, did I make you that?
Nene, you like my hat, girl? Don't worry.
Okay, Nene. Nene, I'm surprised. Nene didn't even reach out to me and say, "Sarian, you did a great job." Kasamandi Moridina only.
But
My beloved niece.
BFF.
Binet Bojang is the one who says,
Nene, I saw you at that. Was it an evangelical something like that? Girl, I like the dress. I saw you in action representing our future president Talib Ahmed Bensouda.
Man, when I get about it, man, sister Nene Dal, I didn't hear from. Say, I don't know whether she was watching or whatever, but I don't know, So.
But anyway, guys, I think we did just
all right, Father Moose. You did well. You did well today. You stand your ground, but I think Coach came on top because he was very objective.
I don't want
he was very consistent.
I have a problem with Chono Jallo becoming Chief Justice.
That's what it sounded like.
No. I mean, would I say you have a problem with Pa Edi becoming Chief Justice? Pap Samba?
Would you say that? No, you drew that conclusion. However, name of you were very eager to impact.
I'm saying you sounded like
no. You went into Bass's thing so eagerly and happily.
Boss Mune is Sariang UMC now.
Man, I saw the question, and let's conclude. I've been sitting here. Bas mom hamna suma number subuge wa. He can always call me. He's my guy. I like Bas. Okay, so Bas can always call me. Hey, and then regular joge Gambia. She's talking to Jenaba and say, "Hey, mandama nyosia do the one that they got suma brother be the switch." Maneko wako ne mu call na.
How am I disruptive? Come on now.
Thank you, Marcel Thomas. Thank you.
Yes, Marshall, you are very fair. Marshall always call it as it is.
Anyway, yes. I'm about to go. I'm going to Senegal. The Senegal is our community here.
Yeah.
They have their event. So this weekend. Yesterday was the soccer. So they have the soccer the whole day.
Okay.
And today they have a program. It's a free program though, downtown Silver Spring. So it's always very festive. It's always very, very nice. So I have to go there and represent.
Who are you representing?
The Gambian. So he knows about to go for the start feature for Nyari Galon Hamanyari Gorang Kolahama.
So Babukar water Tamil Mutsa case
no, you just not mom. Mom Tamil. Dabde Buga Jahase. So but Babukar, you can.
No. That's not the Gambian flag. It's the Gambian color. These are two different things, Bas.
No, guy problem like that. Billahi, they are problem. Babakar Abbas
is Musa like Kiwa, Muneda devil. Musa is a devil's advocate. You can accept that.
Advocate. Mutation platform be in the middle of it, like we build this. You just
we missed that spicy emotional. So
No. When I'm cool, calm, and collected. So, but I want to stand by my statement that Charno Jalo is overlooked for no other reason than CRC Bobunono. Believe me, if they would fire him, they would have fired him.
Bob Fonana dafa yomba to make that as a conclusion.
This is the same money. This is the same government that went and claimed this.
Only reason
they denied somebody. They denied somebody the chance to be the director of GRTS because supposedly he's UDP. So they have a history of that.
Anyway, we will be back.
te nene suma olof bi keroog wax naa ko fii nii ma ne
Hmm.
bañ démba buga tey
Uh-huh.
seen jaadu seen pexe jaaduwul loolu laa wax di nene
Wow.
te
Bañ démba
loolu
bugga tey,
dinaa
pexe ba
stick
jaaduwul de.
with it consistency loolu laa wax
My
Thank
girl,
you.
I want to say my girl Jainaba is working. She's really
yeah xam nga
No,
léegi nag
li
dañ
nga
dee
wax li nga wax sa Sarian. Lebaati boobu noonu. Bañ démba bugga tey. Ah.
it's deep na coach loolu deep na ay
Waay.
so many more rending.
Wow. Anyway, guys.
all right
Thank you,
man
Next Sunday, inshallah, God willing.